Hello, I'm Nicholas Jackson.
I'm Luke Roberts.
And I'm Adam Thorn.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Rand Nerd podcast.
We made it to 7.
We've made it to 7.
Surprised we got through the Christmas special without killing each other.
I'm on 2, hooray.
Yay. We now have a regular Rand Nerd with us, additional one.
A new one.
A new one, yes.
Kind of new.
Yeah. So, we're on a bit of a time schedule today, which is not usual, because so it's ain't going to be like a 5-hour podcast, so Luke's going to have it edited down. We're going to stuck with 2:50 and Luke can edit it down to 2:49.
I managed to skim out like a couple of seconds there.
You'll see what my coughing fits.
We'll try and watch the expletives this time then.
Nah. Did you actually expected me to edit all that out? No!
Have you ever-
Are you actually expecting me to watch my expletives?
Have you ever listened to the podcast?
Yes.
Have you? Oh, I'm impressed.
Oh my
Listen to
god,
the last one.
We've got a
another
listener.
person
Are you
that
one of the
listens.
followers that have increased our following figures by?
I must be.
Yeah, fine.
Wow.
Excellent. Well, I suppose we're moving on to our first section, games we've been playing. Anyone want to head us off on this one? No? Okay. It
No
falls
one
to me.
wants to start.
No one wants to start. Okay, so the first game, well, I mentioned a few podcasts ago that I was going to be, for Christmas, I was going to be playing Amnesia Machine for Pigs.
How'd it go?
It took me 5 hours to do. I did it in 2 nights.
You said you played the first.
No, I haven't played the first one.
So how did you find
Yeah.
it?
I saw about it in PC Gamer because it was called A Machine for Pigs and I like farming. I thought it sounded good.
Right,
I think this is going to be a farming simulator wannabe,
Yeah,
yeah?
it was, yeah. But
Simulator 2015.
The slaughterhouse add-on for the DLC.
I want to try. Actually, there is DLC that does that. But
That's amazing.
there is a mod that takes those shitty pigs to slaughter. Anyway, but I want to try an experiment. Because I remember reading the blurb on Steam and it pretty much told you the entire game and ruined the entire plot line for you.
Okay.
So I want to experiment. I've got the blurb here. I'd like to read it to you. I want to see if, because you've now obviously, I don't know if you've known anything about it. No,
No,
Luke, I don't. So I'm sure you haven't either.
Not a peep.
So I want to see if you two can guess the plot from the blurb. Because I
Right.
managed to.
Okay.
So I want to put my best
So
sort of.
there is a test.
This is my best
Here's the
sort
bit where
of.
we look stupid.
All the podcast.
Right, quiet, please. Be
Silence in the class.
Silence.
Roberts.
Yes, sir.
Ready? Right.
Writing paper at the back.
The world is a machine for pigs, fit for only the slaughtering of pigs. From the creator of Amnesia, Dark Scent, and Dear Esther, you're correct about that one, comes a new first-person horror game that will drag you to depths of greed, power, and madness. It will bury its snout to your ribs and eat your heart. Nice little pig pun in there. The year is 1899. Wealthy industrious Oswald Mandus awakens in his bed, racked with fever and haunted by dreams of a dark and hellish engine. Tortured by vision of disastrous expedition to Mexico, broken on fallen dreams of industrial utopia, racked with guilt and tropical disease. He walks into a nightmare. The house is silent, the ground beneath him shaking at the will of some infernal machine. All he knows is his children are in grave peril, and it's up to him to save them. I managed to work out the entire plot from that blurb.
I've got it.
Go for it.
Anthropomorphic pig.
Close! Right, spoilers now.
I'm surprised.
Oh, close. It has got anthropomorphic pigs in it. He's not one, though. Any other thoughts?
No, other than, I think it said something along the lines of madness.
Yeah.
Machine for Pigs, drives you to madness. Dear Esther drives me to fucking madness.
Wasn't it like first-person poetry
minutes
game?
of just, yeah, exactly, walking around a fucking island, and the only exciting part was throwing myself off the light tower at the end, and I didn't get to see a splat. So if Machine for Pigs is anything like that,
This one's a bit more gory.
I will probably go on a mass murder rampage.
It does feature a slaughterhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you can guess what they're slaughtering.
Well, probably not pigs.
No, of
Just to
course not.
piss
It's a
me
horror film. Yeah, of course it is.
It's a horror film.
Horror.
No, it's managed to jump
It's a horror game. It's a horror game. Okay, I will say it's quite.
Children.
I will say it's quite scary. It reminds me a bit of Thief actually in terms of graphics.
All right.
Of it, and Deadly Shadows.
Yeah, I've seen somebody play bits of the first Amnesia, and that looked similar to Thief
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
the same engine they're using for it. It's I will say it does cost $12.99 for 5 hours in, but it is an indie one, so I'm a bit more forgiving of it. Not like Bioshock last month, which was
we were talking earlier about £40 for a 4-hour game.
4 hours is cool if it's replayable. If it's a game, one of those games that you can play again and again and again, but I can tell already that's not going to be.
Once you've got through the big twist, there's a big twist in it, which I won't spoil. Once you've gone that, it doesn't. I can't see myself replay it anytime soon. Maybe in a few years, but
big twist. There are no actual pigs in it, and there are no machines.
yeah. Amnesia.
Just the thing, the machine for pigs always makes me think of Echo the Dolphin, that level before the end. Welcome to the machine.
For dolphins.
And that level is
Amnesia, a machine for dolphins.
The dolphin that takes on aliens to save the planet. Let's just not go there.
It was a good game. That level was just so hard.
I never finished it.
Really?
No, I never finished it.
It's a good game.
It's another Sega Mega Drive game I never finished.
It does make one mistake, and there's been a lot of horror games make. It's very psychological horror, and for the first sort of, nothing really happens. Well, stuff does happen, but you don't actually come across any of the monsters for at least a good hour. It really sets the scene.
Right.
And what I found was the thought of encountering one of the monsters was more scary
than actually seeing them.
And the first time you see him, and you see him sort of corner your eye, and you see him the first sort of flicks and glances. You've got like a lantern that flickers when they're nearby, so you drop it, so you're in darkness when you see him. And you just see him moving past, and that's really scary. The first time I actually ran into one, and it fought me and killed me, I lost all fear of it. Because I saw what it looked like, and when you just... I know it sounds stupid, but when it hasn't killed you, there's this hard thinking, what's it going to do to me? But as soon as you just
once it
which is why psychological horror is so good in comparison to horror that just slings in your face.
Exactly. And as soon as it did that, I just sort of lost all...
They really do, they do that a lot with horror games, don't they? Like you actually fear the damn thing, and all of a sudden they get this crazy idea.
They do it with horror films now. Like a lot of the older horror films don't show you monsters and don't go into detail into what's happening. They just play off your fears, which is how it should be done, really.
And this is going to sound really stupid because no one's going to really know what I'm talking about, but you know Evil Dead?
Yeah.
The way they financed that was within the woods, which is literally just the low pan and kind of camera sweeps around the woods. Why can't they just do things like that where it's all up to you, it's all in the mind, rather than just constantly bombarding you with shit? It's like,
whenever you see like a scene in a film and they, like, someone's about to have something really gruesome done to them and they cut away from what happens... That's far more effective than actually seeing something done to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because then your mind fills in the blanks.
This is also relevant and kind of not. It doesn't... It relates, but it's completely different. So, the whole idea of, you know something bad's going to happen to the guy, but you don't see it. So you're like, it's all kind of a mind trick. The Promise of Tits is better than tits.
Okay.
So, in a film, like, there's, if you're a classy director, there'll be a bit of fucking side boobage going on, right?
Right.
No actual full-blown fucking tit action going on here. This is sounding really bad.
It is.
Right? They've found that people appreciate it more if you kind of tease them with it than actually just go full-on crazy with it.
They're letting their imagination to work.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure if they could apply it to Machine for Pigs. It wouldn't be very good to call Machine for Pigs and some tits.
And some tits. But... why do they just have to constantly bombard you with shit now? People's attention span's that bad that you have to give them everything now.
Early on, it scares you, and yes, you can one or 2 monsters to escape. Then later on, it does what they always do in these games. It throws about 4 or 5 of them at you, and then they're no longer a thing. They just lost all the horror. And I enjoyed it, didn't I? I did find it quite scary, but I lost it. And it did make me nearly stop playing the game.
Just jumping back to your blood, that is children, the monsters. Is that the big thing?
Yes, sort of.
Right.
Right, spoilers now.
Spoilers, wait 1 second. Count to 5 and then randomly skip to somewhere on the podcast.
Yeah. I assume that you're going to play this game in the far future, so...
I'll probably won't play it.
Fair enough. Basically, what he does, he's gone to Mexico. He's seen a vision of the future, including his kids getting horrifically killed in the Battle of the Somme. So, to stop that happening, he killed his kids.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. He then comes back to London and he believes the way to stop future wars happening is to sacrifice a lot of people for blood. And he decides, being someone who knows about engineering, decides to industrialise the process. So he makes a factory designed for producing pigs, which then knows to be converted to process humans. at the very end of the game, basically they try the evil bad guy, which actually is part of his soul. Long story. He tries to start and actually basically starts harvesting humans and based on a process to try and create a mass sacrificial attempt to save the world.
Fair
in
enough.
his mind. Yeah.
They do that a lot in games, where they're like, hey, look, there's this really crazy villain. And then right at the end of the game, you're like, oh, wait. Turns out I was the villain the entire time. I just
that's
somehow
become a new
forgot.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
it's been-
the you are the demon trope. That's the
Yeah, it's come quite far. And it's the same with like the concept of amnesia. How often have we woken up, been playing a video game protagonist who's woken up not remembering his past?
yeah. Oh god, yeah.
That's pretty much
Age old, isn't it?
every game in existence.
Yeah.
I think Nier did that. I won't spoil that because it's too good.
Did
You
they
have
do that
to
in one
play
of the
it.
Resi games as
Nier
well? Resident
did-
Evil did it?
Probably, but Nier did the whole "you are the bad guy" better than anything else. Very, very well done.
I haven't played that one, but I keep on seeing, because just randomly I'm searching around the old YouTubes, and I constantly came across these random Japanese trailers, and I was like, that looks really hardcore. What is it? I've done that about 50 times. Every single time it's Nier, I just haven't.
Well, funny enough,
played
Nier
it.
is actually different over here to what it is in Japan.
Okay.
In Japan, you're playing as a young boy trying to save his sister. In the Western version, you're actually an older guy looking for his daughter because they didn't think that the Western audience would relate so well to being playing as a young boy.
No, what they would actually do, they didn't believe that they'd turn to a cover-based shooter.
Yeah, but I think they're like looking at like say the Xbox fan base maybe with the Gears of War titles. Nier is pretty much a muscular dude in the game, so they kind of changed it to him being a full-grown man looking for his daughter. Because
So
they thought
basically,
that-
grab the Japanese version. Righto.
both versions are pretty good though. I would say, yeah,
I'll
they're
grab
still
both
worthwhile.
then. I'll grab the Americanized version for the Xbox. I'll grab the Japanese
original
version on the
for PS3,
PlayStation
yeah.
3. There we go.
It's a good game though. Good game.
But just randomly though, when Nick said that they throw like, so he's talking about the monsters, and then they throw 5 of them at you, and it's like, and it's terrifying, and they throw 5 of them at you. And I was like, and for some reason my mind was still on tits. I was like, and then they throw 5 of them at you. It was like, whoa. Then the
Five
fear
tits.
completely goes away. It's like, okay.
Yeah, probably would.
I'm stuck in the machine of tits. Great.
Well, goddamn, what a sacrifice.
So we're going to rename this Amnesia Machine for Dolphins, Pigs and Tits.
Yeah, time traveling dolphins and aliens' tits.
There we are. So there you are. I'm sorry I haven't really done the name of who makes it, but that's your idea for your next game.
Excellent.
The guys behind Dear Esther.
Yeah, a gritty reboot of Echo the Dolphin. With more tits in it.
Probably none of that furry stuff. We don't want dolphin boobage here, okay?
Ugh.
They are mammals, so they probably have got some teats on them.
Oh, for God's sake, man.
The internet doesn't need that kind of encouragement. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
We'll Google it later.
No, we very well won't.
Link in the show notes.
That's coming off Netflix connection, nothing to do with me. Or if not, it'll be Thorn.
That ain't nothing to do with me. God.
So,
Moving on.
moving on. Luke,
Swiftly.
what have you been up to?
Well, see, that's the funny thing, because well, it's not funny. So, was it just after the Christmas special, I said to you guys I wanted to play Gran Turismo 6 and the Killzone game on the PlayStation Vita.
I can't remember back that far.
Thorny, you keep on talking about the PlayStation Vita, and I picked up
Wicked
the
little
Vita.
console, yeah.
The only reason I picked it up so soon was because I wanted Fantasy Star Online 2 and the Hyperdimension Neptunia games, and that the version 2 rips out the AMOLED screen. And let's be fair, that AMOLED screen.
that's just one of the main draws of the console. I
You
love
can't-
that screen.
You can't say to me that an LCD screen is anywhere near as good as an OLED screen.
No.
But I didn't end up playing those games at all over the entire month.
Okay, so
which was-
these show notes are a lie.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They're a complete and utter lie. Because all I've actually had a chance to do, because my boys were kind of prepping my youngest to go to nursery and all that kind of stuff, so we were all sick over the Christmas holiday because some idiot decided to bring plague into the house again.
Wasn't me this time.
No, weren't you? It's crazy. Where's it coming from? We actually ended because the boys got the new Super Mario 3D World
Right,
for
yeah.
Wii U. I haven't actually had a chance to sit down and play it myself, but I've played it a bit with them, and I have to say, my kids are terrifyingly good at Mario games because I've seen them destroy gamers that are only a few years younger than me on that game. Like, absolutely trounce them. And they're like 3 and 4 years old.
That's good.
So,
they also got Korean esports ahead of them.
yeah, that should be
You
like
need to
that.
ship them off to Korea and get them on StarCraft and you're away.
Yeah.
Their APM will be through the roof. So, the Mario 3D World game is actually, I would actually say that's a console seller. Yeah. Oh, yes.
I've got to say, the videos I've seen of it look quite good, and I've heard good things from other people about it. It's a cool game.
It's very polished. I mean, it's a Mario game, so if you're a fan of Mario and Nintendo, it's going to be good. It's kind of goes back to Mario 2, Doki Doki Panic, where you had Peach, Luigi, Mario, Toad as choosable selectable characters.
Yeah. I find it weird that the Toad in 3D World has got blue spots, though. I thought he looked like normal Toad, but...
Yeah, I don't know where they decided to change that, because they did that in New Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, there were two Toads, aren't there?
Yeah, well, there's loads of different Toads, aren't there? But,
but it just seems silly that they don't have traditional Toad. I thought that would have made more sense.
I can't remember if he's... Because there's another character called Captain Toad, and I'm not entirely sure if that's Toad. I can't remember what Captain Toad
maybe
looks
Toad
like.
has become a new
he's got his own character from Mario Galaxy, I think, but I never played those.
Okay.
If you want to know how it plays and you own a 3DS, it's pretty much Mario 3D Land on that, but a lot more polished and a lot more fun. It's a 3D Mario game. You're given a standard course, but instead of it just being a side scroll like a lot of the other Mario games, imagine, say, Mario 64, but with Mario 2 characters and a ton more polish. It's
cool.
It is really fun, plays really well. Music's good, graphics are good. The story's a bit funky, but I won't really go into that because it's a Mario game. No one really gives a balls about the story.
Isn't known for its lore, is it? Let's be fair.
I thought it was really in depth, but you know.
A princess is in another castle.
Done.
Done.
Almost as good as a machine for pigs.
Oh, sorry, I spoiled Mario for you guys, you know.
Spoiler alert.
I forgot the spoiler alert.
I know it's only your second podcast, but come on.
Right, I'll jump on to being with... Well, actually, no, I was going to say being the Steam sale, but I bought this before the Steam sale because I saw it when it came out on Steam. It came out at like about £4 or something. It's a little indie game called Tiny Barbarian. And so I'll check that out. I like barbarians. Conan the Barbarian being pretty much my favourite stories as a kid. So I looked that up. I watched a few videos of it and it looked bloody fantastic. So I'll get on that. It's only £4. Picked it up. It's got to be one of the best experiences I've had in a while, actually. It's not a very long game. You can complete it in about 45 minutes. You've got about 5 levels to go through, but it's more like an old school NES platform fighting sort of game.
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
I don't know why, but I confused that with Volgar the Viking.
Yeah, well, they're kind of different games because I've got Volgar as well, which is also a very cool game. And Volgar, whereas Tiny Barbarian looks like a NES game, Volgar looks more like...
Mega Drive?
No, I'd actually say more like an Amiga game, like the higher level Amiga games. It's really quite a nice looking game, but it does look 16-bit, I guess, in a way. And Volgar is a harder game. It's more about trial and error gameplay. You've really got to play through it a number of times to get it down, and things will kill you in like one hit.
Kind of recognising patterns.
Yeah, whereas Tiny Barbarian's a lot more forgiving. It is challenging, but it's not overly challenging. You can get through it easily if you want to, but it's a good game. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far.
Do you use a gamepad with it, or is it?
Yeah, I use my 360 pad with it at the moment, and that seems to handle it pretty well.
I'm surprised Nick hasn't started spitting feathers yet.
You can't see me shaking underneath all this.
Yeah, I will say though, I do only use the pad for console style games. I will not use the pad for like first person shooters.
Yeah,
or anything
I
like
use
that.
the pad as a doorstop. That's what it's good for.
No console gaming from this man. Oh dear.
Unless it's Sega Mega Drive.
I'll do an emulator on PC. Map it to a keyboard.
Map it to a keyboard. How inconsiderate of them to not put a PS2 control port on your...
I know, it was
PC.
terrible of them. I was not...
Well, you should have thought to build it in. You should have... If you build a rig.
It didn't come across my list of priorities when I was designing it. I didn't think to myself, and of course
Excuses.
I'm kicking myself now. I'm kicking myself that I didn't put a PS2 controller port
I'm just imagining him there with that old Dreamcast keyboard that had like the little handles at the side, playing it like a controller.
No, that was the GameCube one, dude.
Was it? Was it the GameCube one?
GameCube one had control sticks on the side. The Dreamcast one was actually just a regular PC keyboard.
Yeah, I thought the Dreamcast had one like that as well.
I don't know. I didn't.
party or something.
I think that they released a fish one later on. I might be imagining it, but
Probably are.
No, the GameCube one definitely had all the control sticks and stuff on it because you needed it for fancy style online.
I love your confidence there. Yeah, I'm definitely imagining it. Anyway, like as we were saying earlier, short games replayability, and this game has that replayability.
Okay, so what does it do to?
You can go back in and look for there's little gems hidden throughout the levels, and you can go back in and look for them. But for me, it's got replayability, and it's like an old school NES game. It's fun to play, so I will go back and play it every now and then, challenge my time.
That's
stuff
just like that. Time is high score.
And the boss battles are really fun. Like they're quite inventive, and yeah, it's a good little game. I'm quite enjoying it.
It's pretty cool. You're thinking of maybe putting some video up?
I might do. Yeah. The other cool thing about it as well is it's not fully finished yet. There's You've got, well, it is finished because you've got the main game, but there's 4 other scenarios that aren't released yet, and I think it looks like they're not even going to release them as DLC. They're going to be free, so you've got your first adventure, which is just a Conan-inspired romp where you go through and fight sort of a snake cult, and the next 4 adventures, I'm not sure what they're going to be, but they'll be the same length. So you're looking at roughly just under about 5 hours gameplay, which is quite good for a game that only costs £4, and it was only it's like 2D sort of side-scrolling platform game. It's not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Talking of short games with lots of replay value, I'm playing a short game with no replay value. I'm playing Gone Home.
Oh dear. The elephant in the room.
Now, you see, I enjoyed it. However, it is an indie game. Because it was different. I never played anything like it before.
Go play Dear Esther.
I never played anything quite like it before. It was very different, although it's probably quite telling that throughout the whole game I was kept waiting for someone to jump out at me and attack me.
A lot of people have said this. A lot of people have said that they were waiting for a monster to appear, and it turned out to be nothing like that.
Yeah, I kept waiting for it, but it's just basically a story about a normal girl who goes back home to a normal house and just solves a reasonably mundane story about why her folks aren't there. But I enjoy it.
I think we could spoil it because everybody knows the plot by now. It's all over the internet.
Yeah, it is.
So if you want to do your whole 5-second skip because of the spoiler, the plot being that it turns out her sister is a lesbian that ran away from home with her girlfriend, isn't it? Yeah. That
is basically it. But you sort of piece together these people's lives by going around the house and sort of finding like letters from their employers, and you get an idea of the personalities of what's going on, and it's a little puzzle game, really.
I'll explain to you why I hate it. The reason I hate it is because on all the websites, they're like, 9.5, game of the year, best game ever. And I'm like, it's not even a bloody game. The only reason they're saying that is because it's dealt with the whole sexuality issue in games, which could have been dealt with in another way by having a cool character in a game and going, yeah, he's gay. Carry on.
Yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying. I do think it has been slightly overhyped. Say it's not a game, I disagree, because games are such a broad definition. It's an expert. I've enjoyed it. It's basically a long puzzle game just with no combat in it.
It doesn't really look like it has much puzzles from what I've seen. You pick up stuff, look at it, and then go through a door. And
true, but you have to think about what it is. It's a bit like this. Is what one of the things I liked about just quickly going back to Amnesia is that it gave, you know how most games these days, if you pick up information of this chemical mix, this does this.
Yeah.
The next thing you'll get is an objection pop up saying, now go get these 2 chemicals and mix them together. Bioshock's terrible for doing that. It tells you every step of the way. Amnesia doesn't do that.
I hate stuff like that in games.
Amnesia doesn't do that. It just gives you find the amount of information, sort of hidden documents. It's up to you in your head to figure
out.
Which
is much better, yeah.
And Gone Home does the same thing. It doesn't really lead you by the hand that much. There's a few bits where
But from what I've seen, there isn't anything you really accomplish from doing the puzzles. You don't seem to...
No, you don't. It's just an interesting...
It just seems like a social experiment more than a game.
I don't think I would be able to handle 10 hours of it.
No.
But it took me a couple of hours to finish. I did it one evening, and I thought it was different, and I enjoyed it. It was a refreshing
I
experience.
think what annoys me most about it is the whole Game of the Year thing, because
Yeah, it's not Game of the Year.
gaming journalism pisses me off to no end. Gaming journalists don't know shit about games. They're not even
journalists. I could have swore you said journalists.
journalists. Yeah,
The gaming journalists, the ones that poison everything.
They might as well be journalists because they don't play games. They're not gaming people. They just get paid to write articles about stuff that they know nothing of, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, giving that a 9 or a 10 and saying, yeah, it's the Game of the Year, when so many good games have come out over the year that just get swept under the rug because of these same shitty games being thrust into the spotlight purely because of like what they deal with rather than how they play.
I think, damn it, probably because it's been incredibly overhyped by journalists, I think that's a little bit cruel. I mean, it is a different game, it's a different experience, and I would say
just play Dear Esther.
I would suggest people.
But again, play Dear Esther. Just put Dear Esther on and let it run in the background. You know.
Dear Esther is a W key.
I was making a joke because the Nintendo nerd released that Robert Mapplethorpe's video recently where he was talking about a game which is, again, not a game. It's an old 3DO game or something where you just look at pictures of flowers in the gallery. I thought, well, that's more of a game than Gone Home. At least it's got a menu screen. And
actually, there was something like that on the PC years ago. It was a tour of a French art museum.
Wow.
It was it's interesting.
Did you learn anything from it?
No.
Around an art museum.
Other than the French really, really like Bush.
Okay.
Take that as you will, people.
No.
Take that as you will.
Yeah.
Just saying.
What do you mean they like sort of hawthorn bushes and sort of bramble bushes and that sort of thing?
That's what we're going to say to keep this. Well, I've already mentioned
family
kids
friendly
in this podcast.
It's a family friendly.
I was actually more imagining tasteful pictures of President Bush, but senior or junior, it doesn't matter.
I was going to say from 1997. No, on both, really. No. I would actually be kind of scared if I was to walk around a French art museum and drive around like
caricatures of Bush.
Yeah. Is this sort of you walk around, you feel yourself slightly dirty from walking around, like you're doing something you shouldn't be?
Yeah, it's almost like every other corner you'd walk around, there was some kind of display of some nude woman just kind of either sat there.
Oh, that sort of bush.
Just standing around.
Oh, that wouldn't fly today. The SJWs would be up in arms about that.
Oh my God.
There's a nude woman. Get it off.
And the thing is, it had no age range because these were actually in an art museum. It was an actual tour of an actual museum. And you're just like...
It does kind of make me laugh that we get age ratings for stuff like that. There's a pair of tits. But, mindless slaughter, that's fine. You can go with that. Yeah, kill as many people as you like.
Unless you live in Germany.
Yes.
In which case you're not allowed to do that.
No. Well,
in which case you're not
there
allowed
was
to
a
do
debate I was having with somebody the other day that countries either seem to be more upset about sex or violence. And if you don't have one, you have an abundance of the other. So depending on where you are, it'll either be sex all over the place or violence all over the place. But the other will be repressed. So...
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Right.
It's amazing how we went from tiny Vikings to Bush.
It always seems to come back to Bush and tits and other things like this, doesn't it? We did.
Well, that's what Viking stuff's about, right?
I guess so, yeah. That's what tiny Vikings are interested in, I guess.
Well, Vikings weren't all...
And bigger Vikings.
And burning and all that stuff, weren't they? So, yeah, I suppose they were.
Yeah, so.
They knew how to have a good time.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We just went from one being repressed and the other being repressed. Vikings, they embrace all of it. Mindless violence, sex all over the place, whatever you like.
Job done.
Whatever's your poison, this is there for you if you're a Viking.
Yes. Moving swiftly on again, I
We
think.
need more games about Vikings.
Yeah, there ain't enough tits and violence in video games.
And beards.
Amnesia machine for pigs, dolphins, Vikings, and tits.
Oh, God.
Moving back to Luke then.
Oh, Christ.
Have you got anything else?
Another game the kids
Talk
got
about
for
it
Christmas. Because
Come on, hurry up.
the kids got a lot of games for Christmas. In fact, my kids are obviously spoiled because at 3 and 4 years old, they not only have a next-gen console that a lot of people,
They're not spoiled by having a next-gen console, no.
I was going to say, not really.
They're spoiled by all the retro stuff in your house, but
Yes. No, they love Dreamcast and Super Nintendo and stuff
they're
like
good
that.
kids.
But they got the new Sonic game. Was it Sonic? I can't remember what the name is. Sonic Dark something or other. Dark Worlds. The Deadly Six.
All right,
which
okay,
is I don't really know how to explain it because it's not like a Sonic game at all.
Sonic's become very strange over the years, hasn't it?
Well, people keep telling me it's
All
like,
you have to do is put Sonic in a Google search and you can see how strange Sonic has become over these years.
well, people keep telling me it's like Sonic Colours. Has anyone played Sonic Colours? I haven't
I
played
haven't,
Sonic Colours,
but
so I don't know.
again, people talk about it and it seems to be popular.
So normally, Sonic has either been in the real world or as close to the real world, so you'll have like towns and cities that you
And
can run
normal
around
people,
in the kind of newer games, or you had the older style side scrolling Sonic.
He was on
games,
Planet Mobius in the old games,
like
wasn't
Green
he? So it
Hill
was all just
Zone,
animals
the
and
chemical
stuff.
plant, and all that kind of stuff. And then you had kind of like the weird cross games like Sonic Generations, where you had side scrolling and then kind of 3D speed and all that kind of bollocks, which was the last
And then
one
you
I
had
think they
Sonic R.
yeah. That was Sega Saturn, wasn't it?
That was, yeah.
Was it on 32X as well?
No, it was just a
Either
Sega
way.
Saturn game, but it
Oh
was
my God.
pretty bad.
They did do a Sonic racing game right, though, when Sega and Sonic All-Stars
Yeah,
Racing
a lot of people have been
transformed,
saying it's good. I've played it briefly, and it did seem pretty
but
fun.
that is a fun game. The kids like that one as well. They have that one 3 times. Yeah, the new Sonic game it's not a side scroller exactly because it's got all these random 3D elements in it. It's slower. Sonic has a run button now.
I have to admit, from what I've seen of it, it looks like Crash Bandicoot to me.
Crash Bandicoot has a pretty level kind of plane for the most part, whereas in this Sonic game you could literally be running along
Alright,
cylinder and you'll be spinning around it. And
Alright.
it doesn't make any sense. And the fact that Sonic by default walks, it's a very slow Sonic game.
That doesn't make sense at all.
You have to press a button to make Sonic run. You can't just, jam the analog stick all the way forwards and Sonic will sprint in that direction or whatever.
That's all ruins the point of Sonic.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to explain, so I'd have to put up a video on the site about it just to kind of show people what it is. If not, then just look it up on YouTube or whatever. It's. I can't say it's bad, but it's different, and it's not as sucky as a lot of the Sonic games that have come out recently, but it's just damn weird, man. It's probably as weird as that Gone Home game. Like, what?
Except there's no button to run in Gone Home. Run out the door, forget everything.
It's kind of like, it's almost as weird as DRS to the W key test.
Someone needs to make a Postal-inspired mod of Gone Home. I'd play that.
That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just saying. But yeah, it's not again. I don't think the new Sonic game is worth full price for what I've seen. It's hard though. For a kids game.
That's good.
It's hard. But I think it's just because I'm used to a Sonic game where I can just sprint full pelt. I don't have to kind of slow down and think about
I remember it could
platforming.
get a bit annoying in some of the other games. With Sonic Adventure, you just run everywhere and he controlled a bit manically.
because it would have a lot of script in it, wouldn't it? So rather than you bouncing around everywhere, you'd literally then hook onto the next thing and fling around a corner at high speeds.
Yeah.
But you had to.
But when
back
you were
then, 'cause
walking around the HUD, you sort of crashing into stuff.
Yeah, because the camera would clip onto a wall or whatever. But yeah, they've got that. It's weird. It tripped me out. I don't really know what I think to it. And it's got a 2-player co-op game, or a 2-player co-op mode. You've either got your old school race mode, like in Sonic 2, where you have 2 people playing as different coloured Sonics, or in the single player mode. So I'd have thought, because it has a co-op mode.
You think it had another character than a different coloured Sonic?
That's what I'd have thought, but apparently not, because Tails is in the game.
I was going to say, what was Tails?
In the co-op mode, I assumed there would be, say, Sonic and Tails.
Yeah.
It's Sonic and a helicopter. Just a little remote control helicopter. I don't quite get the point of it.
Because Tails functions like a helicopter, so it kind of could have worked there too. But
I mean, apparently you can link it up with the 3DS game to unlock more helicopters or something. I don't know.
The helicopter, is it just a normal helicopter? Is it like a little mini Apache? So has it got little side ones you can launch at enemies?
It can actually fire little missiles at the enemy, and you can pick up rings for Sonic. But other than that,
does it go to a little mini game where you have to lower a little wind stand to pick the wings up?
No. But if it did, that would have been cool.
So we're going into sort of Jungle Strike territory, yeah?
Yeah, Desert Strike.
Super Strike.
Yeah, it was an alright series.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I like Jungle Strike and Desert Strike, they were good.
And there you go. That's Sonic. It's not Desert Strike.
There you go.
If you like helicopters, play Desert Strike. If you like semi-quick hedgehogs,
If you like nonchalant hedgehogs walking around a 3D, semi-3D world,
Play Animal Crossing.
failing that, Sonic.
Yeah. Well, moving on.
Yeah, morning.
Right. Yes, the other game I picked up off Steam recently was DuckTales, because it's a remake of the Capcom classic, well loved by everybody, one of the most popular games on the original Nintendo. This is a remaster done by WayForward, who are the people responsible for Double Dragon Neon, which is also a pretty cool game. And it's pretty damn good, to be honest. They've taken the original game, redone it, but added a few things of their own, and I think the things they've added are actually positive. They've got the whole cast from the old cartoon, so you've got Scrooge McDuck, original voice,
And he's an old
Launchpad,
guy now. Like, really old.
and his voice is just the same, no different. He sounds really good. Some of the other characters, like Magica De Spell, I think the actress that does her is getting on quite a bit, so her voice is a bit different, but still, they got the original voice actress, and that's brilliant.
Nice touch.
It sounds great. A lot of people complained that, a minor complaint being that because they've added so much voice work, that it breaks up the game a little bit, and what is essentially a fast-moving 2D NES game, redone, is now been sort of broken up a bit because of the fact that the voice works in. But I quite liked them because it made it feel like I'm watching a DuckTales episode, and it played out rather nicely. It's pretty good. It's challenging as well. It's hard.
Well, the original DuckTales, from what I remember, was quite hard.
Quite tough.
I don't think they owned it, but
it wasn't really that hard. The old one, you could complete it in about 45 minutes as well. Whereas this one will take you a good few hours to get through because of all the extra stuff they've added. But it's nice. It's animated really well. It's really colourful, which I like. I love colourful games because you don't see enough of them these days. Brown and green and bloom everywhere.
Many shades of grey.
And lots of grey, yeah. But this is lovely. It looks fantastic. Very nice looking game. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
It's got a new soundtrack, and it's got
It does. They've redone the old soundtrack, and it is amazing. The guy who does the music is very good. The only bit I didn't like is in the soundtrack for the Transylvanian level, they've stuck a little bit of dubstep in there, and like we're talking the kind of modern dubstep, and it's just like, no, that doesn't need to be there. I don't need that tainting my memories, thank you very much. But the rest of the soundtrack, and actually the rest of that levels track, is really good. They've even redone the Moon theme, which everybody loved from the original, and that's been redone and sounds absolutely brilliant. The only sort of things they've added, like they've expanded the bosses so they're now a bit tougher, and they've added fetch quests, which I suppose to some will be quite annoying, but they've added them in a reasonable way. It's not sort of overplayed.
Because I was going to say, but in the original DuckTales games, the whole point was for Scrooge to build up his fortune or rebuild his fortune.
He was looking for treasures, wasn't he? Yeah.
You had to look around the levels, because basically you'd get like a different ending based on your score, which was how much money and treasure you found in the NES game. Whereas in this one, isn't a lot of the kind of hidden stuff shown in the form of a fetch quest? Like, it's pretty much
that
shown
stuff
on a
is. I
little
mean, you
map
can
or
still
whatever.
find hidden rooms with treasure and stuff in, and you got your heart pieces that are hidden around, and then obviously you got your main treasure, which you get for beating the boss. So no, there's still lots of little hidden features and things.
I heard that because the score doesn't really mean a lot anymore.
It doesn't. Your score now is used to buy things in the little shop. You've got
like
little
artwork.
Yeah, you can buy the artwork from the game and all the music and stuff. So that's what your money is used for now. But I do like that they've added a little 3D money bin, so you can go into Scrooge's money bin and swim around.
I did see that, because we've got it. I just haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Well, I mean, as a kid, I loved the cartoons. They were on every Saturday morning, and I grew up with them. We probably all grew up with them. And as a tribute to the original game and to the cartoons, I think it works really well, and I think it's a very good game.
Some of the people who did it actually cared about it.
Yeah, you can tell.
They weren't just hired studio to. They weren't just hired to.
The music finally
game.
comes in there, because a thing of mine is I always find if a game has good music, the game itself will be good, because the developers care enough to make the music good. You know they're going to care enough to make every other aspect of the game good, and that definitely shows here. Yeah, it's a wicked game.
Polished. And it's not very expensive either, is it?
Well, I picked it up for £7 in the Steam sale, which is reasonable, I suppose. For, what you get, I'd say.
Was it only £15 when it came out?
I think it was like $11.99 or something.
Like
but it got reduced in the sale. But I missed the day it was on sale, so I was like, but I got it. I had to spend an extra £2, so not a big...
No.
Not a big deal.
Oh,
Goddamn Steam.
how dare they? How dare they?
But yeah, I said Capcom, make more games like this. Stop focusing on the crap you've been releasing recently and go back to your old style and release.
They won't do that, dude.
No.
They won't do that. I heard rumour that
they are.
Capcom execs have gone completely
They have.
nuts.
They've gone bananas.
Like they're putting Res Evil ads in Style and Fashion magazines.
Yeah, and
now.
then Resident Evil is just a casual shooting game, and what they did to Devil May Cry, absolutely unforgivable.
Yeah, the reboot.
And giving it to Ninja Theory of all people, come on, like, no. Just no.
They care for the series, dude. They care for the series.
Capcom don't give a damn about any of their fan base.
If you want to play Devil May Cry, just play Bayonetta.
Yeah, or just go back and play the old Devil May Cry games. Yeah, but
Just don't buy, no,
but
they
then
can't,
again-
'cause they'd have to go out and buy a PlayStation 2.
that's true. But you're right, because Bayonetta is by Kamiya, who did the original Devil May Cry, so it is the closest you're going to get.
Someone's going to say to me, but you can buy the HD remake of Devil May Cry.
Yeah, whatever.
Never buy an HD remake. They never do it right.
Or get yourself the PCSX2 emulator and download it
Yes.
Where
from
on
a
the
legitimate
PC?
source.
No.
No, I'd say with all the nickel and diamond they're doing, you'd be quite justified to get it from wherever you can, really. Because but them recharging people for games, that's daylight robbery. That is. Oh, you own this game already? Well, guess what? You've got to
Yeah, but
pay
you're now
for it
talking
again.
about PlayStation 4, the new streaming service. There's a
That did
PlayStation Now.
irritate me. Yeah,
They've been doing that for a while, though, haven't they?
That was your
PSN?
PlayStation Store. If you had then bought the PS1 games again on the PlayStation Store, having owned them before on your PlayStation, now you've got to buy them again.
I did think that's weird that the purchases didn't transfer, even though some of the games were still going to be there as a streamable.
There's no reason why they can't. They're just trying to nickel down their fans, and it's despicable.
Seems where it's just going though these days with a lot of, particularly amongst the console people, that your fans aren't there to be fans of you. They're there as a money source.
Yeah, pretty much.
They don't see you they don't see people as a group who love your product. You see them as a way of getting more and more money, and the more you can squeeze out of them, the better.
Yeah. It's kind of depressing to be.
And it's kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't work, because surely if you want more money from them, make stuff they like and you'll get more money from them. This is Capcom's mistake, because Capcom were pretty much mainstream anyway, even though they do cater to kind of the niche gamer as well. They were their games are well known by everybody. Everyone knows of them.
Can we just go through some of the lists? Mega Man.
Yeah, everyone knows Mega Man. Street Fighter 2. I mean, although it's still carrying on,
They remade Street Fighter 2 so many times, they killed it.
Oh god, yeah.
The Street Fighter Alpha Zero series, they made so many of those, they killed them. Then they've completely destroyed Street Fighter 4.
They've now released that again, but there is an argument there from the fighting game community perspective, which is that people will say, oh, well, they should have just made another Street Fighter. Why are they rehashing this one? And again, I'd say, yeah, paying that much for a new title, not good. But from the standpoint of like a fighting game player, you don't want too much change. It's better to balance the characters so that you give a better tournament experience.
But that could just be a patch.
Which they could do, yeah. They don't have to then charge out.
These days...
Yeah, they don't need to then go, oh, you've got to buy an upgraded game. Look at what Kamitani did with Dragon's Crown. Just improved, which I'll talk about later. Just improved upon it. Added more stuff for free. And that's what developers should do with their game.
Yeah, it's this job though, if you get the route of, you say, balancing characters and patches of, or you don't know what happened there, if you did that, you just get even more unpleasable fan base, because you make one character's attack less effective to balance him out, and then everybody complains you've nerfed him.
But then you just give them a mod.
With fighting game players, they're a bit different to your regular gamer. When you've got a strong tournament base, they all tend to agree on characters after playing the game so long, because they play it to train ridiculously. They will know the balancing of characters and who's unbalanced and who isn't and how to change it. And if they listened more to that and then did it, it'd work better, I think.
Kind of rather than banning players and characters in tournaments, just balance them out.
Yeah, just balance them out.
Like I said, rather than just say flat out patching it and nerfing them across the board, give them an option. Just go into the options menu and say which rule set you want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. That works brilliantly, doesn't it?
Not difficult, Capcom. Just saying. This isn't, way back when, Super Nintendo days, where you couldn't update the game. It's one of the only bonuses.
That is the irony, isn't it? That no, they can update the game. They don't. They would rather go back and keep us in this archaic form of buying new games. Well, no, just change everything. You
Because
can
that's
do
why
it.
Street Fighter 2 got released so many times because of all the different tournament editions.
Kind of like we were discussing earlier before the podcast with the patch for Monster Hunter, that they patched it because of the exploit in it.
Yeah.
How quickly they did that when they won't patch it if there's something that needs
If
patching.
something needs to be fixed,
Yeah.
they won't fix it. But if there's something that could cost them money,
Straight in there,
away.
yeah.
Bastards.
They're a bunch of cocks, aren't they, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Talking of cocks, that isn't true. I'm trying to find a
Oh,
way
God,
to...
you're not going for a machine for cocks this time, are you? We've got a tit machine, that is a cock machine.
No, I'm talking about The Walking Dead Season 2.
Ah.
I like The Walking Dead Season 1. I got
Walking Dead machine porn factory.
Yes. I got it when I was ill a few months ago. Had a week off, so I bought it in, and I bought the whole season one go. Loved it. Characterization, fantastic. You know, you say it's got quick time events in it, but they actually work and make sense, which is nice. The whole way it's interfaced, the way the stories have progressed, fantastic. They've now started season 2, come out middle of December. And I thought, I'll wait till they're all out, I'll buy them, and I lost temptation and bought it straight away. So you
liked it that much then from the first game that you just straight in there and get it.
Because the first one was 5 episodes.
5 episodes.
Yeah. Maybe 5 for the second.
Yes, 5 episodes the first one, plus there was like a DLC/expansion called 400 Days, which is basically a joiner between season 1 and season 2.
All right.
So that's what was two
That's
together.
cool, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Are you having to pay for subsequent episodes, or now that you've bought the first one,
you buy
get
it
them for
out
free?
like you get the whole lot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's only 18 quid for 5 episodes.
That's
Each episode
good.
lasts about 3 hours.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, there's value for money there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I thought. So part of the reason why I went forward. And they come every month roughly. So you're going to get new content every month. You have to sort of say to yourself, you need to play them in the sitting.
Yeah.
You can't, because they are each episode is so tightly scripted, you can't really play halfway through one and then go back to it a little later. You need to say, right, this evening I've got to play this episode and finish it. Otherwise it doesn't quite work so well. But other than that, they are fantastic to do. And I said I played the first one. It's one of the food games. I've sort of started, I think, at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm still playing through at 2 a.m. the following
They're not my
morning.
kind of games, but I have seen part of one. A friend of mine has got it, and I picked up a copy from my girlfriend recently, so I was sort of watching my friend play it, and it just looked okay, you know. It's not my kind of thing. Zombie thing's never been my kind of thing, but watching him play it, it looked okay. I watched for a fair bit, was entertained, so...
The art styles, they've really done well on the art style. Even the animation of characters' facial features looks very good. But it feels like a comic book when you play. It looks like a comic book when you play. You could print screen at any point and you could put captions on it. It can't be. It's that well done.
Yeah, it does have a unique style. I did notice that.
Yeah, it was lovely. So the first one you played as... I've forgotten his name. I love it that much. I've completely forgotten the guy's name. Anyway, you play as this black guy. And
his name's Ben, isn't it?
No, it's not Ben.
No, Ben's still one of the other characters, isn't it?
Ben's one of the other characters. Anyway, play this guy and he comes across... He's sort of a usual survivor, stuck in a car, gets out, and he comes across a little girl called Clementine. And basically, it's sort of a bit of the sort of long-running arc is their relationship over the course of the 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And how it develops, how it becomes a father figure to her, and how he helps her. But spoilers now, jump ahead 15 seconds. They're into the series.
I'll jump ahead 15 seconds. There's no gap there, man.
15, right, jump ahead. Because Luke said that now, jump ahead another 15 seconds. They're in the game.
Some poor person's now jumped ahead 15 seconds.
Okay. Again, jumping ahead another 10 seconds. At the very end of the game, the guy gets bitten by a zombie. He knows he's going to turn, so he convinces the girl to kill him.
Right.
You basically get the choice, actually. If she kills you or you kill yourself. And I got her to kill me because I thought it was the right thing to do.
Wow, that's nice of you. Hey, little kid.
No, yeah.
This is your final test.
Kill me. So then you play secret players Clementine. The girl. What I did find, however, is they've sort of put themselves into a bit of a corner because she plays basically the same as the other characters. There's no real feel any difference playing her. So she's a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And you come across this group of people and they sort of take you in. And the next day, they take you out having to check traps. They take you out there, two of them armed with guns, and they take you out to help check traps. Not leave you back at base, which would be the sensible thing to do. They've got plenty of other people there who they could arm. No, they take this 9-year-old girl out to help them.
Well, because clearly you wrecked your father figure from the last game.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, whatever, so you're clearly tough enough.
You can freak him out. There is an option. They say to you, so who's... Lee, that's the name of the guy. Oh, what happened to him? Oh, I killed him.
And they're all like...
Okay. They all sort of... Yeah, it's very well written, and it's got... I'm hooked on it already. I want the next episode out the next day. I want it.
Yeah.
I'm hooked on it. I want it now. They've done the sensible thing. They've not gone, right, let's redesign the whole system. They say, right, what wasn't quite right about the first series? Okay, we'll tweak it. So tweak the quick time events a bit. The old one used to have to press Q and E alternately, but like running games to do it. Now you just press Q at the very end to sort of finish off, you press E. Simple change, but makes it a lot better to play. They've sort of just tweaked things a bit, which I'm glad about, because I don't want to redesign the whole interface every time you play a game. Just tweak what you've got.
Yeah. So,
highly recommend it. It's the way it'll probably come on DLC. I think Steam is still like 10% off at the moment, I believe. You can get it for 18 quid instead of 20. Highly recommend it. Get it.
And you'd recommend the first one as well, then?
If you've not played the second one, I strongly recommend you get the first one, because it does import everything across from the first game. It copies everything, all you saves. Yeah, there is a mistake. It does make a mistake in it. When I imported all my stuff across, it got wrong decision wrong. And a bit it shows you like a flashback to the previous season. And one of the things it showed me doing, I didn't do. So it's made a mistake.
How the hell can it make a mistake? It's reading data clean from the save.
It's obviously it's obviously a binary, true or false statement. Somebody's programmed it to the wrong true or false statement.
Or someone's just said, you know what, bollocks to it, let's just screw it.
Well, everything else was correct.
They've done a Mass Effect.
Everything else was correct, yeah, they have. Everything else was correct. I mean, I suppose there's so many decisions to import, they also just made a mistake on one. Because there was a character in the first one who I killed, and the flashbacks, I spared him. So
you get him a box of chocolates.
Well, no, the thing is, the way you spare him in the first one, ironically, is basically you just leave him to be eaten by zombies. Whereas I killed him. He wasn't going to get eaten by zombies, I just killed him.
Yeah.
So, no, I spare him.
Such a nice guy.
He is a lovely guy. Oh, yeah, don't get attached to anybody. If you don't found the previous series, just don't get attached to anybody. You will have your heart broken.
Yeah, that's never going to happen for me.
No.
Even if it was someone I got realised, oh, wait, they're dead.
No. You can see, I'm terrible. I get emotionally attached to cats.
I just took
Except the dude you shot in the head.
It was my decision because I was playing as him.
I just took a brick to the side of someone's head. That's fine. No, I guess that happens at some point in the game.
Yes, it does, actually.
Oh, bollocks.
You can do lots of things to people's heads.
I don't need to play the game anymore. I now know
you can kill lots of gruesome ways. You want someone over a tractor by accident in the first episode of the first season. Well, you don't. Someone else does for you.
I went.
That's another mod farming needs, isn't it? Tractor maiming mod. Farmageddon.
That would be good, actually.
That would be brilliant.
Well, the thing is about farming is I think in the UK, the second most dangerous industry. They want beats is trawlermen. So it would be good if there was a mod to find where you could die for like getting run over by a baler. That's a mod waiting to happen.
We could make Farming Simulator into such a cool game.
We could. Run over by a baler and then it deletes your save file.
That would be hardcore.
Hardcore Farming Simulator.
Yeah, that is. Survival Simulator.
Oh my god.
We need to make these plans. We'll do it this afternoon. Anybody else got any more games to talk about, or shall we move on to our next section?
I have.
Excellent.
One, yeah. I have Muramasa Demon Blade, but this is Muramasa Rebirth, which is Muramasa the Demon Blade.
Demon Blade was on the Wii, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. This is Muramasa the Demon Blade ported to the PlayStation Vita, and it's fantastic. As you guys already know, I'm a big fan of George Kamitani and Vanillaware's games, so I had to pick this up. I've only literally played it recently because I hadn't had a chance before. I picked up an American import copy quite a while back now, but because I got it near enough the same time I got Dragon's Crown ate up all my time and Muramasa didn't get a look in. The reason I started it now is because they brought it out over here. I bought the import copy thinking that it wasn't going to come out over here, but it did, but only in digital form. and it got reduced to like a tenner over the Christmas period. So I'm like, I'll buy it over here. Reason being that the English version is getting DLC, which I wouldn't be able to get on the American version. So I was like, yeah, I'll get that.
Yeah, because
so I can
you've
get
got
the
a
DLC.
European account.
Yeah.
European PSN account.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have been able to use American DLC. So yeah, get it again. So I can get the DLC. It's really good. Yeah, really enjoying it. Art style's fantastic, as is expected with Kamitani. So again, a 2D side scroller, more based around combat than anything else. You get new swords and you level your swords up, and yeah, you get all different types of swords. It's a cool game.
Reminded me of an old PlayStation game. If I left me a comfort my finger on what one it was. That was the kind of game you'd
Odin's
get
Sphere?
way back, maybe.
That was the game that he made for PlayStation.
Oh,
He did
maybe.
Odin's Sphere and Grimoire, I think, for the PlayStation.
I was going to say, it just seemed like an old kind of, PlayStation 1 game. Not old as in bad, but...
Oh, PlayStation 1?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
PlayStation
that'd be
1.
PS2, Odin's Sphere. Oh, I don't know. What game was it? It reminded you of?
I just can't think. It was just that kind of style, graphically and gameplay-wise, just reminded me of something.
Whatever it is, I'll have to find it because it sounds good, because I love Miramasa. Very cool game. Yeah, it's a long... Well, it seems like it's quite lengthy as well. I'm only a little way through it, but you've got two characters. You've got Momohime, who's like a Japanese girl who has been taken over by a spirit of a demon, I think, or at least of an evil guy that's involved with demons in some way. And so at the moment I'm going through as her. You've got a ninja called Kisuke, who's got a bit of a bad attitude from what I can tell. He's a little bit of a shit talker. Yeah, just insults everybody he comes across. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be fun to play through. It's a pretty cool game.
So, if I fire up the Wii version at some point, will you do a comparison just to see what's...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll play the Wii version and give it a go.
And as far as the PlayStation thing, I could be completely wrong. It might have been a PlayStation 2 game. I'm just not sure I played
But
something.
like the artwork in all of his games is all hand-drawn, so it's beautiful. The game looks fantastic. It's such a nice-looking game. I can't really think of what else to say about it, really. Other than it looks fantastic, it plays fantastic, and I bloody love it.
There you go, ringing endorsement. Right, so we've got a new section.
We do.
We have. It's called the Film Review.
What film?
We're
Only added because none of us ever go to see films, so...
Yeah, exactly. This is
We've seen film,
This is the
hooray!
last film I saw before this was back in May.
I can't think of the last film I went to the cinema to see. Actually, no, it was the first one, so...
Oh, there you go. So this will only be in this episode podcast. Future ones we won't have it in because we won't have watched anything. But both me and Thorny have gone and seen The Hobbit. Separate at all point. We didn't sort of have a little chum meeting to go down.
We didn't have a romantic cinema event or anything. No, it's just...
No, so The Hobbit. What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. There are a few changes I am questioning that Peter Jackson has made.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the book? Have you read the book?
I have read the book. Yeah, I love the book. Yeah, I mean,
I haven't. So this
I'm a
is
big
interesting.
Tolkien
This is gonna
fan.
be a good thing to talk about.
Right. I mean, the main change is that Legolas is a main character now. I think he's alluded to in the book.
Yeah. From what I've read, it doesn't ever specify his name in the book.
No, it doesn't.
But if
they
you
just mentioned he's the son of
Thranduil, which is
but then Lord of the Rings, his Legolas instead is being the son of the same character. So they've basically joined the dots.
And with the whole, there's a little thing where Gloin goes, "That's my son," on the little picture that he has, and Legolas mocks him, and that's kind of just a little Lord of the Rings joke there, being that obviously Gimli is in the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah.
What They've added the woman as well. The female elf isn't in the books at all.
No.
A lot of the stuff isn't in the book, but a lot of it comes from Tolkien's notes. So I'm kind of okay with that they're taking stuff from Tolkien's notes and chucking it in, because it works. It really does. But the female character, it did work, because Peter Jackson's justification for it was, well, cinema goers need something a bit different, so we wanted to add a romantic element, which is where the story...
That's different, isn't it? Yeah.
The story with him, with Killy and her comes in, and he wanted something like that. And I can kind of forgive it. That doesn't bother me too much. It was a little irritating, but okay, if he wants to add that so we can shoehorn Legolas in, that's fine. What did bother me is that he's changed Smaug. From the original version, in the old film, if you notice, Smaug is actually a proper dragon. He's designed as Tolkien intended him to be. Smaug now looks like a wyvern. He doesn't have 4 limbs. He's just got legs and wings. So
I didn't notice that.
He looks a bit wrong, and he moves around a bit wrong. And I'm just like, that it probably wouldn't be a big thing to most people, but
Yeah,
being a Tolkien fan, I was like, I kind of would have preferred a proper dragon. It would have looked more imposing and would have fit the scene better.
What I found amazing is I went with somebody who had read the books, and as we were leaving home, I said to her, "I wasn't a bit silly that scene with like all the barrels and stuff. Oh, that was in the book, was it?"
Yeah,
And
that's a bit.
Yeah, as I said to her, "Oh, well, that scene there, when
As if they said that.
when they go to that town, that made sense. Oh, that wasn't in the book. It's like, how crazy was this book?
They just kind of randomly picked bits out. Like,
The barrels are in the book, but it's done differently. In the book, it's not handled in an actiony way. They just use them to escape stealthily.
I do think some of the action scenes go on a bit too long.
Yeah.
I was talking about the barrels again. That went on so long.
But I really appreciated the Bomber bit, where Bomber breaks out the barrels and fights everyone. That was fantastic. That was one of my favourite bits. Loved it.
And also, again, I haven't read the book. The bit where they sort of trick. So, in case you haven't noticed, there are spoilers in this little bit.
Yeah.
They trick Smeagol with all the gold. I don't know if that was in the book or not, but
From the first film?
the second one, they trick him and they build that gold statue, don't they?
Oh, Smaug. Yeah, when you
Smaug,
said Smeagol, I was like, what?
They really shouldn't have two characters with very similar names. I'm sorry, Smaug.
Yeah.
And they trick him with that gold statue.
Yeah.
And that just seemed a little
It's a bit
bit.
OTT, yeah.
Particularly as I always find it amusing where the guy decided to sort of, not so much, sort of half bodies board, half sail along a stream of molten gold, mere inches away from him, yet somehow didn't get burnt. I don't know how hot gold gets, but
Yeah, it's a bit.
that was a little bit again OTT. I feel that should just.
And my only other gripe, because we'll get the gripes out of the way while we're here, is that Ed Sheeran song at the end. So
that's terrible.
fit. The song is good, the lyrics are good, the music is good. His whiny poppy voice, no, should have sounded like Misty Mountains, like it was sung by dwarves.
The song would have been all right if it wasn't attached to the back of that film.
Yeah.
I mean,
And didn't have his vocals.
It'd be like ending the film with like a dubstep track or a rap song.
And again, like the song would have been good,
Hobbit and
taking
Hood
his
or something
vocals
like that.
out. It is only his vocals that make it all popified. The song itself sounds good. The lyrics are good, match the story. The guitar fits in fine.
Plus, my favorite, I don't like. I don't like a nice orchestral end to this Hobbit films.
Well, I mean, they did the Misty Mountains version where Thorin sings it in the film, which is really good. And then they did a proper version. I can't remember the singer's name. Like, he's an old folk musician, and he did a version for the film that plays for the credits, and it's really good. Fits the tone of the film perfectly. So why they didn't get another person like him to do it boggles my mind, really.
Yeah.
But other than those few things, I really enjoyed it.
I did enjoy
Great
it.
film.
I had a few bits sort of. I did feel a little bit off put by, but overall I enjoyed it. Smaug, the facial animation of Smaug is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That is so it's expressive, but not overtly expressive. It's just
they
right.
motion captured Benedict Cumberbatch's face, didn't they? So
they did, but it fits perfectly.
It is good. Yeah, I wish they'd have just made him more dragon-like. If they'd have done that, that would have been a perfect look.
Rather than trying to kind of big up the film and then say how sucky it is directly afterwards, just one of you, give me a reason to like this film?
Do you like adventures? Classic fantasy adventures?
I do, but I have a massive problem with the Hobbit films.
Right, what's the massive
The Hobbit
problem?
being one of Tolkien's shortest fucking books.
Being extended,
It's going to span 3 cunting movies.
Considering the
And Lord of the
Rings,
fucking Rings.
massive books.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. So when I watched the first Hobbit, the first part of it, I really quite enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, I'm really getting into this. And then all of a sudden it stopped.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, they're making this
I think
into
somewhere
a
along
three-parter?
the way he has lost the whole rivet and adventure part of it. That's what I really like about it. I would like actually I don't mind the 3 films. It's just that he's focusing on the wrong things. I'd like to see more of the dwarves. We've got all these dwarves, and some of them we've hardly seen anything of.
But do you not think that's actually a problem? I think that's actually a bit of a problem for them. That the fact that the trouble is the dwarves, they all. I still try. I can only pick out 2 or 3 characters. They all just look the same to me.
I know characters who they are just from sort of watching it, but the whole Adam and Legolas stuff, when he could have expanded more on all the different dwarves, and because Bomber has some great bits in the book because he's so lazy and just slow, he messes up loads of different things and ends up in all these different situations, and they would have been really good in a film.
But do you not think so they want the audience to like him as a character? Do you think they start putting all those bits where he messes up, people just end up disliking him?
No, because the bits where he messes up are comical, so it's kind of like his comical bits now, which are in the film. It would have just made him a more funny character.
Or do you just think they've made the changes for people who haven't necessarily read the book?
Probably.
Yes.
It has just been changed so it fits cinema more. But then again, it's like they could have just, given the dwarves a bit more screen time.
Yeah.
If they're
To
going to give it
explain
three
who they
goddamn
are
films,
and what they're like. I mean, so far we've just got snippets of them, so we know snippets of what each character's like, other than sort of the main 3 or 4.
There is one character in that film, from both the first one and the second one, who I'd quite happily have completely got rid of out the film.
Right.
Ragadast.
Yeah.
You know, he's played by Sylvester McCoy, who's in their former Doctor Who, which I enjoyed Doctor Who, so I'll forgive him for that, but it was just silly. I can't go over the sledge of the rabbit.
For
I'm
me,
sorry, I can't go over the sledge of
that's
the rabbit.
actually more true to the feel of The Hobbit, though. I like the silliness of that, because The Hobbit is a light-hearted, whimsical adventure. Lord of the Rings is big and epic and has all these battles and stuff.
It's a sledge with rabbits. I'm sorry, no.
I kind of like that. I've got to admit, I like the Radagast character.
And I thought, oh, how stupid. No, he should be...
For me, that fits the feel of the tone of the book more, though, because it is...
Possibly because we've got different viewpoints. I've never read the book.
Yeah.
And so I'm going out from a person where you've read the book, so...
I think as a cinema goer, I can see where you're coming from, because you'd be coming in from having seen Lord of the Rings, which is very different to The Hobbit. The Hobbit is so different to Lord of the Rings.
And I appreciate it when I went, I appreciate it was going to be a little bit more, but that felt very much like it was put in purely to appeal to a lot younger viewers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, The Hobbit in itself is a bit more
it's a children's book, isn't it, to be fair? But still, it just felt like it was shoehorned in.
But I kind of like that in contrast to, like, you think it's set in the same world where you've got Sauron and these orcs and all this evil shit going on, and then you've got this funny little dude with rabbits pulling his sled. I think that's great, especially when you consider Tom Bombadil in the Lord of the Rings books, because they didn't put him into the film. Probably for that reason, actually, because again, he'd take away because he's such a silly character and it is pure sort of comedy with him.
Yeah. Overall, I'd say it's worth... if you've seen the first one, definitely see the second one.
Yeah, other than that, there's a few little complaints I had that we went on about. A bit much there, really. I loved it. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Did they cut it at a really stupid point like they did the first one?
Yeah.
They cut on a cliffhanger.
Again.
But from what I gather, though, from what my mother was saying, who I went to see the film with, the cliffhanger in the book happens like the last, quite late in the book. So I'm not sure how they're going to stretch the third film.
The third film's obviously going to have the battle. There's a big battle in the book, so that'll be in there.
The battle can't last the whole...
In fairness, the entire second Lord of the Rings film...
The irony being in the book, that throughout the battle, Bilbo's actually knocked out, so he doesn't see a lot of it.
Good,
They're going to have to do that in some way, but then you've got the attack on the town as well. That's got to be in there, so Bard has to have his moment.
Yeah, that's what's happening. That's where he's obviously
that's where it's weird that I'm thinking that obviously they're going to have to go back and start with, like, I think they did that with this one, didn't they? They're going to have to start with prior stuff, not just open on the battle, because that would seem really weird to open a film on a moment like that. They're going to have a little bit of a build up by going back and showing some older things going on. And they're obviously going to add all the stuff with Gandalf as well. That's going to then expand in his battle with the Necromancer, who he now knows to be Sauron. So that'll be interesting. And apparently Christopher Lee said he's in the next one. So we're going to have some Saruman moments in there too.
Good.
So,
see, I get the whole point of the cliffhangers. Hey, now I want to go see the next one. And I kind of get why they've cut them where they have. I just don't like where they've cut them where they have.
From like an editing perspective, you mean? You think they
I
should have
suppose,
cut
yeah,
them?
because it's the shortest book, as I've said. It's the shortest book by far. There's a pocket version of the goddamn
it's a very
Hobbit.
short book.
Yeah.
So, see, what bugs me, because you're talking about all this stuff, and there's so much detail that they could throw into the last part of the kind of trilogy of the Hobbit. So, it's going to sound horrible, but I really wish if they'd have expanded The Hobbit like this so they could put in so much more of the kind of little points.
And it is strange how,
fill it out.
in a book they're stuck in Mirkwood for ages, and yet in a film the Mirkwood stuff happens and is out of the way by, the first half hour or so.
To be fair, though...
But I love that Mirkwood scene. That was very cool.
But it's one of those things that you could easily do too much of.
Yeah.
And you could go further. I think that was just the right length, that scene. That could have easily gone too far.
It could have gone a little bit, made people feel a bit lost, I suppose.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed about Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, there is one cliche that Tolkien seemed to like, and that's the "Here come the cavalry" cliche.
Yeah.
The amount of times main characters get themselves in an impossible situation, elves appear! Gandalf appears! Dwarves appear! Hobbits appear!
Some random race on that.
Yeah.
Well, just randomly appears.
Dolphins
Nick's
appear.
chagrin. Radagast appears.
Radagast appears. Yeah.
No!
There's so much of this possible situation. Cavalry arrive. It's a bit
Yeah.
always a bit of a cop out. I know a lot of that's from the book.
It's just a bit of an old Deus Ex Machina there, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a cop out. It always feels so.
I just kind of wish they'd have expanded on the other.
I have to admit, though,
films.
it's nice to have a likeable Hobbit. Bilbo's pretty cool in compared to whiny old Frodo, who's just, yawn fest.
As much as I say that the Lord of the Rings films are literally just 3 films of people walking,
I love the old film, so...
I really do wish they'd have expanded on them. Because, they've made an 88-page book, or 80-some-odd page book, into a 3-part film, which are, roughly 2 hours long, right?
Yeah.
So... I know that Lord of the Rings was already long enough, but we've got crappy films like some of the Twilight films have been split into two.
God, yeah.
One book's been split into 2 full-blown beefy films.
Bear in mind, for a time, it was very hard to convince them to then make Lord of the Rings, and it was, I think, at the time believed that War of the Rings wouldn't be that successful.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But
Despite
I
the
really
money spent on it, they didn't necessarily think it was going to be. So that's probably why I didn't expect. Hobbit has got the benefit of hindsight. They know that it will sell.
Yeah.
Therefore, because apparently it was Peter Jackson family went to the studio and said, "I want to make a Hobbit film," and they turned and said, "Well, tell you what, do you want to do 3?"
Well, originally it was Guillermo del Toro, wasn't it? Was the director, and they changed it to Peter Jackson because it wasn't working out with Guillermo, and Peter Jackson wanted to do it, and fans were saying we'd rather have Peter Jackson do it because he did so well with Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, clearly. Although I'm not sure he's done such a good job on The Hobbit, if I'm honest.
Really? I think he's done all right, all things considered.
Rabbit Sled,
there's those few disappointments that I have with it that I think he didn't need to change, but overall, I think he's done all right.
Do you think
found
the
it thoroughly
Hobbit would flow
enjoyable.
better? Sorry for interrupting again, but do you think the Hobbit would flow better? And for me, I think it would flow better anyway. If, let's say, the past Lord of the Rings films had been released.
Right.
They're going to be released now. I would have been happier with the flow of such a short book being turned into a 3-parter. Let's say the Hobbit does really well. Then they say, right, we're gonna do Lord of the Rings, or we'll redo Lord of the Rings. They then expand it to a ridiculous length so they can cover more detail in the books, because the Lord of the Rings books were ridiculously detailed. I mean, there's a book about the little tiny details in the books.
Yeah, there's parts in the Lord of the Rings that might not translate to film so well. The Tom Bombadil stuff, I love it, but it does take you away from the epic atmosphere. Suddenly they're in a quaint little forest, all the silly stuff going on. You're like, I'm not sure that would translate as well to the film. I think Jackson made a good choice taking that out.
The other trouble is as well is that the people who are going to be interested are your die-hard all those things, but your average moviegoer doesn't want to go see a 3-hour film, which is basically exposition.
Moviegoers. Average moviegoers. How you ruin good films with test audiences and other mind-numbing junk.
It's the same with the gaming crowd and everything else.
Yeah.
But
that's what they had these sort of extended editions for, as well. They used to try and add some of the stuff back in.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
I love the extended editions. They're very good.
Yeah. But again, he added the right stuff back in.
No, I just wish that maybe they could have, expanded just a little bit more in the previous films.
Yeah.
Because there is so much, and a lot of it, admittedly, is dialogue that people complained were cut from the Lord of the Rings films. And I know you don't want to have, all these people sat in these
especially the
fancy
stuff
places.
between Frodo and Sam. My God, that harps on in the books. You don't want that being stuck
we
in.
could cut out just like Sam, Frodo, gone. Films, they're a lot better now. But you've just cut out 2 of the main characters and you're complaining that they should expand them. Yes, without them. But I don't know. It just didn't sit well with me. I would have probably preferred.
Boromir needed a bit more screen time because he didn't have much, does he, really?
Boromir was a fact. Well, again, that's where the extended version came in because they expand a lot on Boromir's character.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a very good character who was so briefly seen.
He suffered from the Sean Bean effect.
He did, yeah. So, but he was. I mean, it would be good. I would like to see a short. It'd be nice. It would be very good. They could do like I almost like sort of short half-hour episodes, as it were, on different characters. It'd be nice.
Yeah,
you don't have to watch.
Expand.
Yeah, have a half-hour episode based on Boromir, or even an hour long, based on Boromir. Not actually part of the film, but sort of either releases their
I think he failed to portray Boromir's father in the films as well, because you didn't really. Well, Boromir's father in the films was just. You'd think he's an asshole and he deserved to get what he did. Whereas in the books, it's a bit more sympathetic because he's been driven to absolute madness by stuff that he's seen. And he's a man that's tried to hold Gondor together and has successfully done really well, but has been driven mad by this stuff that Sauron's putting into his mind through the... I can't think what they're called now. The orb thing that he has, yes. I'm going to kill myself for saying orb thing later.
Oh... I can't remember.
I can't think of the word, but
the crystal ball.
Yeah, but so Denethor didn't really have so much of his character in that film, and some of the other characters do suffer a bit from that. Whereas again, kind of with casting, I think Aragorn's really benefited from having Viggo Mortensen play him because he got so into the role and did so many things right that it really worked out.
They're actually worried about him on set because he got so into the role. They thought
he was wandering around New Zealand in his full gear, wasn't he? With his sword and everything.
They were getting a little bit worried about him on the set.
But all the stuff I've read about what he's been doing on the set now is awesome. It just makes me think he's a great actor.
There's one bit though where I always laugh whenever I see it. Is at the end where he goes to the Black Gate and his accent slips.
Yeah.
And he says in his American accent, I can't remember the exact words, basically, come out of here, Sam, man, you suck. Something like that, effectively. Yeah. That's not a direct quote.
I was going to say, wow, no, I don't remember that.
I know the scene you mean, though. But look, there's the scene with the helmet, isn't there? Did you watch the extended stuff on the DVD where he kicks the helmet and he breaks his toe? And that's why when he does the whole dramatic, thing of the Hobbit's going missing, you're like, that's because he broke his toe on a helmet. Yeah. That's awesome. And then when he was supposed to dodge out of the way of Lurx's dagger when he throws it, and he deflects it with his sword. Like, that's not meant to be there, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's because the actor of Lurx couldn't see properly.
Yeah,
he actually misaimed, didn't he?
And he just deflected it. You're like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm so glad we got that.
Yeah, that would be a very different film if Aragorn gets killed in that scene. Quick, how do you write this in?
I can just imagine the guy behind the camera going, "Did we get that? We'll see it tomorrow in dailies," and they're all just kind of sat there chewing.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we need to go again.
Like, just prop him up on some sticks and we'll puppet him about. But do you think they'll make an extended version of The Hobbit?
They have already, haven't they? The first one's already been extended.
Of course they will.
Yeah.
Well, how is she going to print more money?
I think you have a fair point, actually. Yeah.
So
Peter Jackson's cropped up already, isn't he? He's in the second one. I don't know if
he cameos in most of the films, isn't he?
Yeah, he walks past the camera, doesn't he? Very briefly eating an apple in the second Hobbit.
I also believe that The Hobbit has, not this one we just watched, I believe it's got some Gloucester Old Spot pigs in it. There you go.
I like the fact that when people were trying to point out continuity errors and stuff in it, there's a bit where Bilbo runs past a chicken and everyone's like, why is that chicken normal size? And then they're just like, smack, no, there you go, there's actually Hobbit-sized chickens in the books. So
there are. So, Hobbit. Good.
Yeah, brilliant film. Definitely would recommend it. Can't wait for the third one.
I might have to watch it and I'll probably be chewing something thinking it's going to end any fucking second now. The most inappropriate point.
Just needs more dwarves. I love all the dwarf bits. Dwarf bits are what it's about. Less elves, more dwarves.
So all we'll do is we'll edit in like a little flick
at the end. It's not Legolas on his skateboard shooting everything. The film. Just no. And the romance thing was just unneeded. Didn't need that.
No.
So I do like Nick's idea though, where they could have expanded on. Well, seriously, what we say they could expand on certain characters and certain scenes.
Yeah, no, that's a good
kind
idea.
of shorts that they could add in, like in Blu-ray extras or
Yeah.
or kind
I
of
mean,
things
and
like
with
that.
the dwarves, that's even better because you can do comical stuff with them. There's lots of
Well, the Matrix did, didn't the Matrix?
comedy.
They had the Animatrix, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
they
they
did
did
And then they
that.
tied in some of the games as well. Like they tied the game. They had a game to tie in parts of the film. So bits that they didn't put in the film that people were like, well, how the fuck did they get there? And you're just like, oh, well, they just got there. Like, that's just how it works in cinema. In the game, they fill that gap. You actually see how they got there, why they are there, and all bits in between. Then again, maybe that's part of my complaint with Lord of the Rings, because I believe they expanded with some of the games and stuff like that as well.
I don't think they did it to the same extent though. Like you didn't have to play the game to know that
The
was
only
going to
Lord of the
happen.
gameplay I've ever played was basically they said right, it was EA based, so you knew it was going to be very good. They said right, what's the point of the Lord of the Rings? Battle scenes. Forget about everything else. So the entire game about fighting.
EA is responsible for Return of the King, and that's actually a good game. The
did make some
Two
nice
Towers one,
levels,
not so good, but the Return of the King games are actually quite fun.
Yeah, they made a Hobbit game. They did, didn't they? At one point.
Yeah, but it was all cartoony, wasn't it? I've not played it. But
I actually think I believe that there was actually going back a lot of years. There's a Hobbit game back in the 80s.
yeah, there was. There was Lord of the
Text-based
Rings
adventure.
one.
Yeah.
You had Lord of the Rings on the Mega Drive and all that. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do a Let's Play of a text adventure.
That'd be good.
That would be interesting to go on play.
Text adventures are good. Get the right ones. Classic old text adventures.
Maybe it'll be better than the goddamn film.
Shall we move on to the next section then?
Feel like?
Fair enough. So, stuff looking forward to. I haven't got anything in this, so it's down to you
Down
two.
to us.
So, off you go.
Where should we start?
The silence.
Science.
I forgot to write that bit down.
Great.
I do know that we have
Right.
Dark Souls 2 in there.
Yes.
And East Memories of Saltetta. And those are my two. I don't know what.
No, you want a JoJo and.
Oh, right, yeah, we were discussing that. Should we start with JoJo then? We'll start with
Yeah,
JoJo.
go for it. If I had to be honest,
Because it was something that you're looking forward to, but something that I'm already well versed in. So.
Yeah, because I remember playing the JoJo game. There's a beat up on the Dreamcast. I don't really know all that much about the story, if I had to be honest, other than a bunch of JoJo fans going spastic.
That game was based on Stardust Crusaders, which was JoJo 3. That's the third novel, or like the third story arc even, which was about Jotaro Kujo. It all stems back to Jonathan Joestar. It's Joseph Joestar. No, Jonathan Joestar. Joseph Joestar is the second one. Jonathan Joestar, who is the protagonist of the first of the new animes, and the first original storyline. So the anime that's out now is in two parts so far. We've got two story arcs: the Jonathan Joestar story arc and the Joseph Joestar story arc. Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, has already been done, which is what the game was based on, has already been done as an anime, but they're now going to do it again in this style to match this series. So that's what we're looking forward to at the moment. I believe we were discussing it got put back, didn't it? Because it was another anime coming out. It caused a bit of a stir.
Yeah, that's what I was then about to actually mention, that the whole thing I picked up from the anime was that a lot of JoJo fans went absolutely batshit loco, completely nuts over the Hyperdimension Neptunia anime, which came to it's just going to be a load of tits and fan service and
Well, the Thunder Tits, surely.
yeah, exactly. Well, it was just basically a play on the game and taking the mick out of gamers and the games industry again, like the games. And they're like, well, where's our next series of the JoJo anime? I said, well, actually, all of the money that this series makes, all the money that the Hyperdimension Neptunia stuff makes from all the merchandising and extra stuff that we make, it's going into JoJo.
I'm cool with that. I mean, JoJo's coming this year, so we'll get it this year, so it'll be good to look forward to.
See, they went nuts over that, but I don't see any of the JoJo fans going nuts over, say, Super Sonico, which is pretty much, from what I gather, all fan service. Like, it's a mascot for a music festival, I think, that's going to go around anime.
But JoJo fits in with a lot of the manga and stuff I like Fist of North Star, all that kind of fighty goodness. But yeah, you're sort of coming in then, having not really known much of.
No, pretty much just the game.
Well,
really.
what you need to know about JoJo is it's pretty crazy. It's quite out there. A lot of the characters are named after bands. You might find band names and stuff from the 70s in there because he's given them all those those kind of names. It's a random show. It's good though. It's one of my... I don't know if it's in my top 3 anime, but it's up there. It's definitely in my top 10 somewhere.
Would you recommend a manga read first? Or
No, you can just jump in. You can just jump in with the series, to be honest with you. I don't know if all the mangas are actually translated. I've read some, but I've read them online, so they're sort of fan-translated. But, you can just jump in with the animation, to be honest, and you'll get the idea of what's going on. I think you'll enjoy it as well.
Can we just say, like, what would you... Not as in kind of...
As a gamer as well, you'll find JoJo inspires lots of stuff. You'll notice things and you'll think, I've seen that somewhere before, because a game designer has gone, I'm inspired by JoJo.
We mentioned how one of the characters...
Major Stroheim is basically the inspiration for Guile from Street Fighter. Although he's playing for the opposite side, he's a Nazi general. All of his sort of character design is what Guile is based on. So, and there's a character in another Capcom game, Knights of the Round, one of my favourite games. The second boss of that game is a knight called Brayford, and he's just a colour swap of Bruford, who's a character in JoJo. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff like that you'll see in the anime that you might think, oh, I've seen that somewhere before, because it's popped up in a game before.
So should we just warn people, though, what kind of content they're going to be getting into here? Like, is it safe for work or, whatever? Because a lot of people... don't really know what they're going to get in anime, and 1 minute you could have, all friendly flowers and hugs, and the next minute
there's violence, obviously, there's lots of dudes fighting and stuff. It's got a random sense of humour. They have actually cut certain things down in it. Yeah. They've cut certain things...
to our listeners for that.
Yes, tapping on the table as I'm thinking. They cut certain things out. An example, I can chuck it in there because it's not a huge spoiler, because Stroheim is a Nazi general. There's a bit where he throws a Nazi salute, and they blank out half the screen so you can't see his arm going up in the air and doing the salute, which is a bit strange, but then again, Japan having been on the Axis side, I guess it's kind of expected.
Is that censored on an English translation?
No, it's censored on all versions. Because there is no English translation as far as I know. I've watched them all in
Japanese.
Yeah, just with sub. Yeah, all fan subs. So it's like, they've basically censored that. It is violent though. You get sort of quite a few.
I did see a clip.
A dude does get reduced to a brain pretty much. So yeah, there is quite a bit of gore in there. Sexual stuff, not so much. Although there is a bit where Joseph Joestar decides he wants to dress as a lady, so you've got a 6 foot tall muscular dude in women's gear to sneak past some Nazis, which is interesting.
I can't see how that would work, but it would be hilarious.
It's mad though. It's very crazy. It's like it's all over the shop with madness. There's lots of odd characters in it, and I mean Dio, the main villain, he's all over the place mad. I mean, he becomes a vampire and all sorts of stuff, but it's a bit of a spoiler there. So.
Well, you can kind of tell it's going to be one of them crazy ones, because the disc cover, the sleeve for the game, was colourful all over the place.
And the game itself was pretty crazy. And it does get crazier the more it goes in. So this third one now coming out, the Stardust Crusaders one, will be pretty mental, because the old cartoon of it was as well. But the old cartoon actually has one of my favourite episodes of any anime. There's one where he plays a game of cards against someone. Well, I won't go into what happens, but the stakes are so high that it's one of the most riveting episodes going. It's really good. It's just him bluffing his way through a card game with someone. Yeah,
If they can do that in an episode of an anime, why can't they do that to The Hobbit? Just give us that detail, guys. Come on.
What, you think the episode for the third from The Hobbit should be about Bilbo going to a pub and playing a poker game?
Yeah, playing a game of cards, beer mat table.
It is a Hobbit. I imagine pub games are a daily thing in the daily lives of a Hobbit. I'd like to have had the beginning bits stretched out a bit more with the dwarves at his house, because that's my favourite bit of the film so far.
But they didn't.
No.
Because they suck.
Them doing the little song about wrecking Bilbo's house.
That was funny. I actually quite enjoyed that.
I mean, it's in the book as well, so yeah, all the lyrics and stuff are there.
So we can all sing
along. I do
along.
love Tolkien and his poetry, and it's some of my favourite bits of the books. But yeah, you'll definitely enjoy JoJo. Anyone that likes that kind of anime, anyone that likes Fist of North Star, it's Fist of North Star with a tint of madness. Really, it's not quite so. Well, I say serious as Fist of North Star. Fist is serious. It's cheesy serious, Whereas JoJo's a bit more light-hearted, even though it can get a bit ghastly at times. But nah, It's good. It's all good.
So it's perfectly safe for your 5-year-old to watch.
No. No.
Maybe your 5-year-old to watch.
No thanks. I don't really fancy getting ripped apart when I'm asleep.
Yeah, no.
But,
But it's good. I mean, I loved it. As soon as Stardust Crusaders on, I'm going to be on that straight away.
do you think we should put up a video of the game?
Yeah, maybe we could do a bit of a playthrough of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game. There's a few games now, aren't there? Because one came out on the PS2 that never came out over here. And there's currently one that's just released in Japan, isn't there?
Oh, I have no idea.
There's a PS3 beat 'em up that's just come out in Japan. It looks pretty cool.
I can get hold of the PS3 one pretty easy because that's region free. So.
If we could get an arcade emulator, it might be better, because I believe the arcade version is a lot better than the Dreamcast version of that game.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, it is. There's stuff cut out of the Dreamcast version, which is a shame, but the Dreamcast version's good.
We'll have to look into it.
Yes. And then there's the old Pet Shop exploit. The character Pet Shop, there's an exploit in that game, so you can basically kill anyone in a matter of seconds, which is pretty bad.
I don't remember that.
Talking about balancing issues as we were earlier, that would have been something they'd have to balance out.
If only they could patch things
Yes.
in them days. That would be buying a whole new game. But no.
Right, what else did we have on that?
Well, Dark Souls 2.
I'm definitely looking forward to this.
I think I mentioned Dark Souls in the previous podcast as well as Demon Souls. In fact, it was probably the last one, the last episode that you were on.
All right.
2 months ago.
Isn't Dark Souls basically griefing the game?
It can be, but there's a lot more to it than that. It's a very interesting game. It's a dark game, very depressing game. I wouldn't play it if you're on the verge of suicide, because it will tip you over the edge. There's no hope in this world. The world you are in is utterly damned, no matter what. So you are fighting through knowing that all of your efforts are pretty much pointless, which is why Dark Souls 2 will be so interesting, because I won't spoil the ending to Dark Souls, because
I didn't even play it to the end of it.
It's a very there's 2 endings, but the game is so dark that both of them could pretty much be bad. Neither of them could turn out well, depending on, because the game it's not straightforward with its lore. You don't just play through and get a nice little story. The world is very segmented, and you get a little drip fed through item descriptions, things that you pick up and you find. So you have to do a little bit.
You bump into an NPC.
And you see characters, and they're all they talk in riddles, some of them, don't they? They're a bit sort of vague in what they're saying, and you pick up little pieces about them, and it is a very bleak game, which is why I'm interested to see the path the second one's going to take, because I'm assuming that they're not just going, Dark Souls, the name sells, let's just call the next one Dark Souls 2. I'm assuming it's not going to be like Demon Souls, it's going to be a carry-on from Dark Souls. So I'll be interested to see where they go and how the endings affect what happens in the new game. But it's a good game, yeah. I mean, there is griefing. The whole online aspect is pretty much, you don't play the game through with someone or necessarily against someone. People can just hop into your world and either help you against a boss, if you so choose to summon them, or can just come in and say, I'm going to attack you and take everything yours.
Yeah, because you have no idea if they're going to...
No, you get a little warning saying someone has entered your world, and then you might have to fight them, or you can just grief them back by F4 and out of the game if you really want to.
If you really want to troll, which is a little bit more difficult.
It's reverse trolling in a way. I've done it a few times and got some really angry letters and emails back saying, you coward, F4 and out of the game. I'm like, yeah, you're mad. I'm not. But I have fought people on there, got some... They're called Dark Wraiths, because there's a certain group in the game that you can join, you don't have to, and that allows you to then jump into people's worlds and fight them. And so yeah, it can be fun actually, because it adds to the tension. It's not a game for people of a nervous disposition, definitely not.
I was going to ask actually, is it at all possible to play it so you can't be invaded?
Yeah, you can play offline, so you can't be invaded. The only drawback then is if you come across a particularly hard boss that you're having trouble with, you can't summon other players to help you, whereas you would be able to if you were online. Yeah.
And a lot of the whole kind of like tooltip style stuff that they had in Demon Souls.
Yeah, you can leave messages on the floor. I love the fact that people leave grieving messages. Like, if you jump down here, you'll find treasure. Oh, really? Yeah, jump down and you die.
All your gear,
and because it's not a very forgiving game, that can be quite maddening.
It's quite brutal. And that's what I liked about it. That's what I liked about the series.
But I've got to admit, coming from like a well, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore gamer, but I've played a lot of games and I play a lot of games. I didn't find it all that difficult. I mean, until my save got corrupted, which was vastly annoying, I had made my way most of the way through the game, and I'm now sort of in the process of doing it again. But yeah, some of the bosses are a bit of a problem, but overall, so long as you know what you're doing, it's not that tough. It is more the people jumping in and attacking you.
Because you can't just run in there and wail on things.
Yeah.
I mean, when I played Demon Souls, I have to admit I fell in love with the series before it was a series, just from playing it. I felt like I'd played it forever. I felt like I'd really explored the world and really loved it. I'd only played it for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I have such fond memories of the game.
I have a ridiculous amount of time in Dark Souls.
When Dark Souls came out, I drooled over it. I bought it on the PlayStation 3. It sat in the shrink wrap fridge. I don't even think my PlayStation 3 version has even touched the system yet.
Funny
but
enough,
then I went out and bought it full price.
I like
on
the fact
PC.
that a lot of people seem to mistake it for a Western game when it's a Japanese game, because the Japanese seem to have this way of actually doing Western mythology and Western style, like medieval designs, really well. Like, I think they've ascended past us in doing that. Well, with Dark Souls, they definitely have.
And the game looked gorgeous as well.
It did,
was,
yeah.
It was such a dark and...
I love the way the world is put together as well. I mean, you'll appreciate this, Nick. The world is seamless. So you can move around. And somebody's gone into the game and put up how the world is built. And it's really well done. It's really nicely put together. And you can see various areas. You might be in a certain area and look across like a landscape and think, hang about, that over there is where I was earlier on.
Yeah, because you didn't have like a Nexus-style hub like you did in...
No, Demon Souls was sort of, yeah.
Which, that kind of threw me off a little bit with Demon Souls. But in Dark Souls, I mean, you literally start point A, you basically get dropped off here, make your way somewhere.
And you can get lost. I remember when I started with Dark Souls, I thought, my God, this game is hardcore. Because rather than going up the stairs where you're supposed to go, because you start from that little hub area when you get out of the asylum, and there's a new number of ways you can go. There's not really any clear direction, except that if you talk to the crestfallen warrior, he's like, oh, if you go up some stairs to get somewhere. I believe that's what he says anyway. Because you can either go down and end up, if you've got the key, picking the key from the beginning, and then end up in Valley of the Drakes, or going into the New Londo with the ghosts, where you definitely don't want to be. But you're supposed to go up some stairs and go through Undeadburg, but I ended up going straight to the graveyard and fighting the rock-hard skeletons.
Yeah, I remember. Because isn't there, and this can't really be considered a spoiler, there's a Zweihander.
Yeah, there's a Zweihander there.
And if you grab that, you're pretty much...
You can run through, grab it, and run out again if you want to.
And then you're pretty much OP through the start of the...
So I ended up becoming really good at Dark Souls because I spent ages fighting my way through there, fighting my way down to the catacombs, where the skeletons now respawn, because obviously I hadn't figured out that... I won't spoil it, but there's a way of preventing them from respawning, but you won't know it at that point of the game. So I'm then fighting respawning skeletons, thinking, bloody hell, they weren't lying, this game is hard, getting myself through there, before realising, actually, if I'd have gone the other way, I could have gone into Undeadburg, where I'm now fighting some quite easy hollows. Yeah, so the game then became a cakewalk.
So I can remember a friend of mine, we all tried to get together before the whole end of the world, December 2012. Yeah, whatever it was. We were all going to do a Dark Souls live stream, and so we all kind of got to the point where we were trying. You have to be within a certain number of levels to be able to co-op
play together. Yeah.
And one of my mates, we didn't end up doing the stream because it turns out that one of the other players leveled up so far it was ridiculous. We'd never ever be able to play together ever again because he was like in the 50s, and we were all like, I don't know, level 20 or 12 or something like that. And it would have took hours to get to where we wanted to be, but. He, like I said, you could find a Zweihander in the graveyard. One of the guys grabbed the Zweihander, was ridiculously OP from that point. Just because at the start you end up grabbing the Zweihander.
The Zweihander does take a certain level of skill to use. You have to time your attacks quite well because it's such a big, heavy weapon that if you don't time it right, enemies will wail on you.
But that is one of the things with Dark Souls is that you can't just run in there and wail.
And that's one of the things I like about it. It takes me back to, although it's not the same thing, but Phantasy Star Online had that rhythm system with the combat.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to be a bit like that in Dark Souls. You can't just mash the button. You have to time your strikes and
you have to keep
really feel your way around your weapon. It's quite a good way of playing.
Because archers drive me up the wall in that game so bad.
Everybody hates the Anorlondo archers, the two big guys that fire huge arrows down at you. But I've never really been much of a problem for me.
It's fun if I've got a nice nice weapon. I can just get up. If I can get inside the tower, they're instantly stuffed.
I do love how imposing some of the bosses look, though. They're so big. They just like the first time you see the Hydra, and you think, how the hell am I going to kill that? Or the gaping dragon.
I love the way there's always a nice little trick. You'll go up against them, once or twice, and you'll think, holy crap, like, how am I supposed to do this? And then you'll find there's always this little kind of... I like the fact that the tricks aren't like... Because in a lot of games, they can fall into the trap of giving you an exploit against a boss, and then that becomes so easy that it's laughable. But with Dark Souls, even though the challenge is finding the exploit and then still fighting the boss, because the boss will still be hard, you won't have any sort of leeway, really. But yeah, some of the bosses' patterns are a bit easy to sort of... get over. I think the Quelaag is probably the easiest one. The big spider woman thing that you find in Blighttown. I don't know if I ever got that far, to be honest.
Blighttown's a bit of a nightmare the first time you go there. A lot of players hate that place, especially if you get invaded there.
I'm really looking forward to playing through the Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 from start to finish, actually finishing the games.
Yeah.
I
haven't finished Dark Souls yet because of my save file get corrupted, so it's something I'm going to be looking forward to doing.
See, a little thing that people don't know is, because I always talk about PlayStation Plus and how much great value for money PlayStation Plus is. Well, originally, I only got PlayStation Plus to make a backup of my Demon Souls save, because it's copy protected. My PlayStation hard drive had an error. It had a glitch. I couldn't install stuff off the PSN store, so I'd have had to have wiped my system and then restored it.
Yeah.
Demon Souls, you couldn't back up the save, so I ended up paying for PlayStation Plus to back up my save, so I didn't lose, even though I was only like 4 hours in, but I'd had so much fun just messing about.
Your character.
Yeah, it was just kind of fun. I felt really invested into the 4 hours in, but I felt really attached to the...
Yeah, they are very good games. They're the way games should be going. They are good, challenging games. I like the fact that the story isn't obvious stuff. And some people may say it's lazy story writing because of the fact that a lot of stuff is vague and only gives you hints. But if you read through it, you can put two and two together with quite a few things and figure out some stuff.
I mean, did you feel that you were in the game more so than just this little blip of a character?
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I really loved about the game.
It does immerse you.
I can remember putting the game in and I was like, holy crap, this is everything I wanted and more.
Oh yeah, it plays like an old school game, doesn't it? It does play like you're going into a game from back in the day, and yeah, again, that's one of the reasons I loved it. Oh yeah, can't get enough of it, it's a great game.
PlayStation 3 and PC. Dark Souls was on the Xbox as well, wasn't it?
I think it's on the Xbox.
Yeah, Demon Souls was a PlayStation 3 exclusive.
PS3 exclusive, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, because I've got it on the PC, Dark Souls, and it works really well on the PC.
Although
people complain about the port, but I think it runs fine, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does run fine. Just they had a few. Well, it's a game for Windows Live.
Because it's Windows Live, the online is a bit sketchy. Funnily enough, it's not sketchy when I'm being invaded, but when I'm trying to summon someone to help me, oh god, yeah.
Yeah, you're just
I'll be there for a while.
No, it was more of people complained that it was basically just the Xbox 360 version. They didn't even scale
that doesn't bother me really. Like it still ran fine, it still looked fine. It wasn't a big deal.
Because there were a few patches, fan-made patches to make. When you apply these patches, the game looks amazing.
Yeah,
but
it looks good anyway. It's fantastic.
In fairness, as much as I've said, the game looks gorgeous.
It's one of them games I could sit and talk about like Thief for hours because there's just so much in there, and because of the world being built the way it is, you can just theorise about everything and different things. And
so we're going to recommend picking up Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2 when it comes out?
I'm not playing Dark Souls 2 yet. I wouldn't say I could recommend it, but based on our knowledge of Dark Souls, I would say the sequel will definitely be worth it, yeah.
Have they actually said much, if anything, about Dark Souls 2? Because I know it's coming.
Have you seen the trailer?
No,
I'll link you to the trailer. The trailer gives you a little vague idea of... There's a Japanese playthrough demo of it as well, which looks interesting. So we've seen a few enemy designs, a few armour designs, a few of the locales. Yeah, it's looking interesting.
Is it going to be a completely new character this time around? Like I said, I don't know.
I assume so. I can't say for sure, but I imagine it will be because, well, one of the endings is pretty final in the first one. It may not be, because you never know what you're getting with Dark Souls, so maybe it's different to what I expect it to be. But there's just, the lore in it is so good. Like, the stuff that you find out about characters, even though it's vague sometimes, sometimes those vague little things can...
It
Like we were
rewards you
saying
for
about
your
horror
emotion.
being better when it's psychological, for not telling you everything.
The game actually rewards you for becoming part of it.
It does, yeah. You really
Rather
have
than
to.
having to spoon feed you like every other game you
I mean,
play.
with the character of Solaire, there's so much stuff about him. People theorising all different things about who he is, where he's from, what he's about, and yes, it's good.
Good series.
Very, very good series.
really
Very
need to-
highly recommended series.
Really need to dig out the games. They're locked away at the moment.
Dark fantasy, the way it should be done.
By the Japanese.
Absolutely. But then again, Dragon's Crown, that's westernised or Western style fantasy, and they've done it sublimely.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, we used to back in the day, but
Once upon a time, before we decided that Call of Duty was the way to go.
although, I mean, Skyrim, take it or leave it.
No.
Parts of it are quite nice. Just
Horrible game. Elder
Draga, the
Scrolls
musical.
went to...
Draga. It's pretty much the game, isn't it?
That game's
It's no Morrowind, let's put it that way.
I think Morrowind was the last decent Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, Oblivion's horrible. I hate Oblivion. I mean, I can play Skyrim, but I can't even play Oblivion. It's just... ugh.
Can I just ask, actually, I completed Oblivion and I was so disappointed it wasn't even funny. The fact that the last people I fight were practically wearing skirts. So you just go up to the end person you fight and this ain't a spoiler, I fucking wailed on him. I didn't even wail on him, I just swung my damn blade and the dude hit
I
the
remember
floor.
reading a post talking about someone who played through Morrowind, and they love Morrowind so much they've gone through it numerous times. And I think it was the PC version. You know how you can make potions that can make you stronger? They'd basically buffed their character ridiculously, hammered their way through the game, got to Dagoth Ur, and hit him so hard that the game crashed. Like, he couldn't deal with the amount of damage that had been done to this character.
That was the guy who completed the game in 20 minutes, wasn't it?
It might have been, yeah. Who had, I think you're right, yeah.
He discovered that if you create a potion that buffed your alchemy skill, you could then use that higher skill to create another potion, which buffed it even more, because it also was a higher skill level, and made a ridiculously high level potion.
So you can become ridiculously strong. Me and my friend did that before.
We used to do that with Soul Trap, and we found a glitch in a spell that would allow you to buff your strength, and although it would say be a temporary buff, or any of your stats, you could then attach a Soul Trap to it. And if you fired it into, say, a corner where you were standing, it would hit you, and it would be permanent. The buff would be permanent. So you could make it so your character could sprint across the map in no time. Like your character's animation would just glitch out because you'd run too fast.
Superhuman.
You could jump and fly through the air. You could literally walk up to a fully armoured guard and just punch them, and they would fly. It was it was a fun game because of its glitches.
I did tell you about my Skyrim experience with Grelod the Kind, didn't I?
Pass.
You know how when you level up in Skyrim you get the hearty Viking music and the Vikings all chanting and heroic music? Well, Grelod the Kind, I don't think it'd be a spoiler to say who Grelod the Kind is, because everyone pretty much knows by now. Have you played Skyrim, Nick?
I have played Skyrim, but if it's only doing the main quest...
No, it's not.
That's right, that's fine.
She's just like the keeper of this orphanage, and she's an evil woman.
Oh, yes. Part of the Dark Brotherhood.
Part of the Dark Brotherhood quest, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, you can do her in without having to do that, and because she's an old hag, like this evil old lady...
Yeah.
And I have a thing for shield bashing. I have a shield on my character. It's so much fun to run up to enemies, punch them in the face with shield, then stab them. But with her, I didn't realise how close I was to levelling up. And she's like giving me nagging at me, and I just walk up to her and shield bash her, and she dies and just hits the floor. This old deer hits the floor. My levelling up music plays. So there's my Dovahkiin standing there, looking all manly in this epic music playing, and this poor little old lady dead on the floor, even though she was evil, and all these children going, she's
that's
dead.
The best bit. That's the best bit about the whole thing.
That sounds pretty hardcore.
It was awesome.
Would we say that Skyrim was worth playing just
for that
bash?
moment, yeah.
Just a shield bash.
There are bits I like about Skyrim, but there's other bits that just drag it down.
I think it was horribly overhyped, and then when I got it to review, and it was heavily...
It's unfinished. There's bits like the Thieves Guild quest is so anticlimactic, it's unbelievable. And there's just...
There are some... I think the Sky has the points that some of the faction quests were, I mean, the companion, which is the equivalent of the fighting skill faction, was so short.
And the fact that it all dealt with the werewolves, I wanted.
I quite like that. I like being a werewolf.
But I liked the resolution of it, like that you could then take the werewolf curse off if you wanted.
Yeah, but why on earth would you want to do that? You're a werewolf. It's great.
And I have to admit that was one of the things that pissed me off about Oblivion. There was you'd randomly get attacked by a vampire.
Yeah.
So
you are a vampire.
Yeah, you'd end up, well, look, now I'm a vampire. And there was a side quest where you could get it cured.
Yeah.
The trouble was that every now and then, not for everyone, this quest would glitch.
Oh dear.
And the person that was supposed to cure you would attack you because you're a vampire.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where basically this person will attack you. From this point on, the game will then quick save or save, and well, you can go back. If it's glitched once, it's going to glitch again.
Well, see, my solution to that is open up the console window, click on the person, say set threat level to 0.
Yes.
Yeah, but
that's the great thing with the PC versions. You just go into the console, you can reset it all.
I mean, because Whiterun doesn't reset in the game when it should to look nice again after the big fight there. So I changed that in my console, so it now looks normal again, which is nice.
There is a glitch with the Blood on the Ice mission, I think it's called, where you solve the murder in...
Oh, right, yeah, where Ulfric's
base.
yeah.
And if you don't do that quest, you can't get the house there.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that quest was so broken it wouldn't work. But again, if you've got the console,
you can fix it.
You can fix
it. It just bugs me that you have to do the work to fix it.
I know, but it wouldn't be an Elder Scrolls game if it wasn't buggy.
That is probably one of the things that everyone loves about the Elder Scrolls games, is just pissing around with the glitches. I love Daggerfall
for some of the mad stuff in it, and how unforgiving it could be, especially if you sleep in that town and the ghost of the king just appears in the middle of the night and kills you. You're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't sleep outside.
I remember playing Morrowind when I first played it. I bought it with all the add-ons on it. I remember the first time I went in, because the first time you come out, you're so weak, like a small, a small rabbit would take you out.
You're ridiculously weak in Morrowind.
I remember the first mission you got is to go rescue some slaves from a cave. I go in there, the first guy I meet sort of pummels me. I remember going back up top to sort of have a rest. I go to sleep and I get woken up by this Dark Brotherhood assassin trying to kill me. It's like, oh, great.
Well, what have I done now?
Yeah, because that's all a part of the expansion, isn't it?
Exactly. And you can't, and every time there's no hardly anywhere you can sleep where it doesn't just spawn this guy and tries and kills you. It's like, I've not done anything, I've only just got to here.
Like, I've only just got off the fucking
He was relatively
boat.
easy though, wasn't he, if I recall?
He was easy, but it was annoying.
So I had the expansion, but I didn't get it till way later, and I played much of Morrowind then, so I didn't really give the expansions much time of day, but...
Wow.
Morrowind is cool. There's lots of hidden stuff that I like in Morrowind.
I was
exploring and things. Whereas exploring in Skyrim isn't as fun as it is in Morrowind.
It really was just overhyped.
Everything seems a bit too scripted in Skyrim. Well, saying that dragons obviously aren't, because they appear out of nowhere, but other bits, I don't know.
I think in some cases our problem is we expect too much. Pretty much everything I've complained about so far in all of the podcasts, I could quickly... straight away just contradict everything I'd said.
Yeah, sometimes I can,
with positive points. I just want everything to be perfect. I want it to work, I want it to be fun, I want it to,
We've established this by how long it took to set up the podcast.
Yeah, and this is probably going to sound like one of the worst podcasts ever, but...
Only to you.
Right. No ranting. It's going to sound fine.
It will sound fine.
It'll sound alright. You just get me drumming on the table. That's it.
But, yeah. Fuck you, Elder Scrolls. Fuck you, Skyrim. Having to pull out my fucking graphics card.
I have to be honest, because there was a bit of a debate of Dark Souls and Skyrim coming out at the same time. Dark Souls is by far the superior game.
Yes,
by far, the game people would be better to heavily invest in. As much as, because Skyrim's okay, it's not a bad game. Heavily overrated, but a good game.
I've actually just had an email. A reminder, hey, Elder Scrolls Online, the beta starts tonight or tomorrow, whenever. Does anyone give a shit? No? Okay.
I don't really like MMOs.
I don't like online gaming.
There you go.
Why are you asking me?
I have to get everyone
MMOs. Because I got the beta for that game that I'm not allowed to talk about. And that's okay. But Yeah, even then I played it for a bit and I just stopped. MMOs don't do anything for me, really.
No.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, you say that, I have to play Final Fantasy 14 again. There's a quest line I want to do where I want to put...
I mean, Vanilla Warcraft, when it first came out, it was nice to explore. From an exploration point of view, it was quite cool, and it was all new, and then playing with other people was quite nice, but yeah, it gets very generic very quickly.
It got pretty broken once they put flying mounts in.
It got broken... Well, no, the Burning Crusade or whatever it is add-on wasn't too bad.
So that was probably the most balanced the game ever
was. It was the Lich King one that really ruined it, wasn't it?
I quite like Wrath. I like the story of Wrath.
Yeah. I couldn't stand World of Warcraft.
No.
I played to about level 20, and I was really
overall I don't like it.
I was doing all the quests and everything, and it was all so samey. And all I ever got told was, "Oh, trust me, once you get to level 80, it's great."
Oh.
Yeah, end game.
And the whole game feels like hard work, doesn't it? It feels like a job more than a game.
It's. I can see why people buy characters. I can see why people do it because I thought, how many hours of my life I'm going to put into getting to level 80? And when I had a novelty factor when I first played it. I quite enjoyed the novelty factor. Oh, it's all these other people.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
I enjoyed it at BFS. Someone had got drunk, and that was quite a novelty. But then after that, I thought, I can't bother to play this anymore. I just thought, what am I doing? And
every MMO I've played is the same. I'll play a little bit, think, oh, this is cool, and then, no,
I've just got so fed up. Just basically, all you do is sort of right-click on enemy, hit 5, 6, 7, and then you win.
Funnily enough, the most enjoyable one for me, at least, was Lord of the Rings, and that was because of that fact I love Tolkien, so it was nice to go into. And I played that's probably the one I played the longest. Oh, the DC Universe one I played for quite a bit as well, but even then, wouldn't recommend either of them, just because they're MMOs and they get stale quickly.
I liked World of Warcraft, the original World of Warcraft, but I didn't play Burning Crusades, got back in Wrath, got permabanned in Wrath.
Nice.
Made another account.
What got you permabanned?
They said that I was selling gold and hacking. Well, they basically said I was hacking, which covers selling gold or gold farming and click on, but none of those. I literally played the game,
if you make that gold, why shouldn't you be able to sell it? It's your gold.
That's the thing, though, because I played the game, logged off, went to sleep, woke up in the morning. By the way, you've been permabanned. I was like, okay. Contacted a GM. No, tough shit. You're permabanned. We've got proof.
Favour.
I was like, oh, so you've got proof. I was like, so if I buy the game again and make another account, you have no problem with that? Like, no, that's all. I was like, okay, but if I'm such a dreadful hacker, surely you shouldn't allow me to play the game again.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's fine. So I ended up getting back into the game after a little while because I had such a sour taste in my mouth from that. Especially after my wife, Finky, had actually just bought me a replica of the Frostmourne
sword.
Yeah, which hangs in the hallway. We did have the ice shard as well, but that got shattered when we moved here, shamefully. Limited edition. What was it, like 500 came over here, and it got kind of destroyed. Yeah, she just paid for that as a gift to me, because we both played together. And I got permabanned. I was like, I couldn't even look at it. And then eventually I got over it and got back into the game.
You had fallen and you just got Frostmourne. Oh, the irony.
Yeah, pretty much. Got back into the game. Got to level cap in Cataclysm. I couldn't even be bothered to do the end game by the time I got to level cap. I just missed out on the Wrath end game.
Yeah.
Because I got permabanned. I then missed out on Cataclysm because I just couldn't give a fuck anymore.
The games just feel like hard work to me. I don't have fun when I play MMOs. I feel like I'm obligated to do things. And it's like, I don't want to. I just am not enjoying it. Whereas, like, we go back to a game like Diablo 2. It was actually quite fun, going around and not so much Diablo 3, which was pretty bloody terrible.
It was horrible.
But Diablo 2 online was good fun. Great fun to play with other people.
The trouble with MMOs is, if I wanted to do dull, repetitive tasks again and again and again, I do that at work every day.
Yeah, precisely.
But I get a difference. I get paid to do that at work, whereas MMOs, I have to pay someone the privilege of doing it.
Yep. And that's one day that server's going to get shut down and all that's going to disappear.
That'll be a blessing, I'm sure.
Final Fantasy 11 was a good one. 14.
Did we get here from Dark Souls?
Yeah.
We got to Warcraft from Dark Souls. That's terrible.
We need to go with Skid's sort of skirt of
actually, it was
Elder
more.
Scrolls.
We got
Yeah.
some Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
through Dark Souls, which take
It
us
was
to
a
Elder Scrolls
downward
Online.
spiral, basically.
Holy hell! Why did they have to make Elder Scrolls Online? Why?
Oh, it's been. Let's be honest. We've been waiting for it to come out for a long time. You know it's good. You knew it's
Not so
gonna
much
come
we've
eventually.
been waiting for it. They've been talking about it. We don't necessarily want it.
No, but
I found it funny that I watched a video recently, and I complained a little bit about this on my Facebook, that some chap had put a video up talking about racism in video games. And one of his main things is, the Red Guard in Elder Scrolls are racist because they've got a lower intelligence stat than everybody else. But the Red Guard have a higher strength and stat than everybody else, and they're more loyal than most of the other characters in the game. And talking from a lore standpoint, they're bloody awesome. They're probably my favourite race in the whole game, or the whole Elder Scrolls series. Yeah. And this guy's jumping in and saying that based on this intelligence stat thing. I thought,
tit.
The Red Guard are the only race that have ever kicked the Thalmor out of their homeland. They're pretty damn cool. How can you say that?
Because he's a dick.
Just more of this SJW rubbish that seems to be seeping into the gaming industry that irritates me.
Deep breath.
Yeah, my best character on Skyrim is a Red Guard, actually.
I haven't really. I have to be honest. I've just slammed the hell out of it, but I haven't really played it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I got Skyrim, and they said, by the way, if you want the best performance, see that graphics card you got there, that extra one, pull it out.
they have patched that out, but they fixed that.
Yeah, long after I got the game.
And they also patched the 4 gig memory limit they had on it originally.
Long after I got the game.
Yeah, but the fact is they have fixed it, so it might be worth a retry.
No.
No.
Just no.
Just do it to get Cicero in your party and go around murdering everyone.
I'll
Yeah.
murder everyone anyway. I'm actually I am half tempted to try the game just to shield bash a granny.
Gotta.
I killed
You
Cicero,
need
I
that
hated
experience. Get your level really high, so you're close to leveling up, and shield bash Grelod.
Because the warrior in me, the whole World of Warcraft warrior in me just wants to shield
Funny,
bash
actually,
people.
in a lot of games I don't play as warriors usually, I'm normally a thief. But in Elder Scrolls, or in that one particularly, Skyrim, I have to be a warrior. Just it suits being a warrior so much more. And I suppose the fact that even though my main guy's a Red Guard, I have a Nord as well. And the game kind of gears you more to playing as a Nord because of you're in Skyrim and the whole Civil War and everything. And Nords seem to feel better as warriors. The whole game just seems built around that.
I just like wailing on people with big swords and shields and things.
I was disappointed with the Thieves Guild because I made a thief. It's always my go-to class in these kind of games. And I was I wasn't expecting, because I'll never expect this, but I was hoping against all hope that I might be able to play it a little bit like the Thief games, but no chance.
Nope. You were just a guy that randomly went around.
And the Thieves
roughing
Guild is
people up.
horrible.
There wasn't a lot of thieving in the Thieves Guild.
It's just like be a thug and fight for this rich, evil woman and then get no closure because you can't kill her or turn the Thieves Guild against her.
That would have been nice. It kind of
would have been
stops
awesome if it had been building you up by making you miserable by having to be a thug and do all these horrible missions, and then when you get to the top, you can turn them round and have them like the Grey Fox Thieves Guild, and just by getting rid of her, taking all the corruption out and being kind of Robin Hood style thieves.
That would be kind of funny. If just randomly, I don't know.
And the guy who's like leader of the Thieves Guild when you join actually seems like that kind of guy. He seems Errol Flynn-like and quite a cool guy. So why he'd be working for Blackbriar, I don't really know.
A year or two down the line, there will either be DLC or a fan-made mod that will allow you to do that. Because they're going to hear this.
Then
No,
I
they
can
won't.
level up by shield bashing Raven Blackbriar and I'll be even more happy.
If you do, I expect to see a video of it. I want to have a camera pointed at you
Shield
and then a
bash
screen
everyone in the
grab
game.
as you just shield bash these motherfuckers.
No, I
It's
think
Titan
what I
Quest.
would love to see you do is shield bash a dragon.
Could you imagine if you actually do that?
Funny you should say that. My first dragon fight in Dragon's Crown against a red dragon was finishing it by my dwarf punching it in the face, which was awesome. Just imagine if the Hobbit had ended like that. Thorn just goes poof, and he knocks something over there. Yeah. With my impressions of dwarves hitting things. Yeah, Thorin just like heading in and punching Smaug directly in the face, knocking him out. It'd be brilliant.
There you go. Film over. Book
Yeah.
over. That's it.
Classic ending. But yeah, you know I have Shield Bash the Dragon in the game. I like Shield Bashing things. I was going to say then actually it's Titan Quest that gave me my love to Shield Bash, and if you've ever played Titan Quest.
Titan's Quest. That
It's like
had,
Diablo, but set in like ancient Greece. And
they had an expansion pack.
Yeah, I've got the expansion as
What
well.
the hell was the expansion called?
I can't remember, but it's all set in Hades.
I've got the games. Again, as normal, I don't remember jack shit about them.
They're quite good. I mean, they're the only game like Diablo that I actually enjoy that isn't Diablo.
There is actually one out recently. Again, I can't.
2?
No. I'll have to ask Zaber more what the game is called, because he pointed out the other day.
You've got Path of Exile, and there's that new one that's sort of got all Steam stuff in it. Like,
I know it is on Steam, but one of the kind of, if you scroll down on the Steam page, it will actually say everything you wanted Diablo 3 to be.
All right, that's probably Path of Exile then.
That might have been.
Which is free online, and it's not actually that good. I didn't like Path of Exile that much, but Titan Quest is good. But yeah, one of the builds in Titan Quest allowed you to be able to shield bash stuff, which was
shield bash and stuff is just awesome.
But in Titan Quest, it's great because when you shield bash things, they go flying, which is hilarious.
Actually, I lied. There is something I liked about Skyrim. When them fucking trolls clubbed you at the start, the ragdoll giant. And you get fucking the first time I ever saw that was not long after Skyrim had been kind of released for review. And this dude just basically went up to it, thought he could take it on as a rookie, and just got clubbed once in the head and flew into space. That was fun.
Yeah, the first time you see him, I think two of the companions are fighting one, and you kind of should help them, because if you help them out, the Huntress is all like, you're a pretty good fighter, you handle yourself well, but if you don't, she's like, why did you just walk past, and makes fun of you for being a weakling, which is quite funny. But you should be able to play as a giant. That would be cool.
I think it might have been Robaz did a video with a console mod where he set a load of the children NPCs. He ends up calling one of the giants a pedophile.
Yeah, he modded a lot in that game. Didn't he add like a companion seal and stuff for himself? Or
I have no idea. I can just remember seeing the video with all these.
It was a walrus, wasn't it? A walrus companion. Because Volgar the Viking, some of the achievements have got Robaz inspired stuff in them because he pioneered the game so much when it came out. It was like, yeah, this game's great, and they made some Robaz centric achievements, which is
King
quite
of
cool.
Sweden. Well, at least they're not Total Biscuit fucking.
Yeah, one of the achievements is actually called the King of Sweden, and there's other ones based on things he said, Viking nipples and stuff like that. And you're like, cool.
There you go. YouTube. Infecting the gaming industry since 2005.
In bad ways, in some cases. Borderlands 2. Yes. Less said about that, the better. Mainland.
Seriously, anything with a Total Biscuit character in it. Sorry.
Oh God, why would you want Total Biscuit as a character in your game?
Oh, he's in a few of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
I can't remember what the game's called now. It's kind of like cannon fodder, and they actually had a good soundtrack.
And you've got Total Biscuit in it. Oh,
yeah,
dear.
one of the characters is based on Total Biscuit. Well, it's not based on Total Biscuit, but I'll wear a top hat and monocle.
Is it obese, opinionated, and full of shit, and useless at everything?
I talk shit, but that guy seriously talks shit.
I just don't like the way he talks to his fan base. If you've got a fan base,
he doesn't have a fan base. They are just.
I love there's that picture someone's put on the internet of him talking shit about all his fans and how they're just another thing to him, and then Freddie Mercury next to him saying, "I love all my fans. They're all worth something to me." And it's like, yeah, measure out who's the more popular of those two, Total Biscuit or Freddie Mercury.
I think it's kind of bad though how some, and this is going completely off topic, but how some internet celebrities will completely slam the shit out of their entire fan base whilst they're on a live stream being viewed by their massive fan base.
If my fans wanted to talk to me about something, if I had fans, I'd just be totally cool with it. Like, whatever. If they're going to talk to me about something, cool. I'm not going to say to them their opinion's wrong or... Unless it was a really, really bad opinion, in which case maybe I would, but...
It's almost like they're offended about he's becoming slightly popular.
They're
offended by the whole idea that they've got fans. How dare they?
Yeah.
How dare they? Look, I never read the comments anymore because it's just full of shit.
That's normally why, to certain YouTube people I watch because they're not like that. They're generally quite cool people, not in it for the money, so to speak, just there to do what they love and engage in their hobby. I hate people that say that
as well. If it wasn't for the money, that my show wouldn't be as good as it is now. So your show ain't exactly fucking difficult to make.
Sucks compared to like Classic Game Room, who don't really care about that so much.
Albeit they are kind of doing it for the money, but
They do, yeah, but it's not like you can see it's not all about
it's
the
not
money.
so obvious.
It's
about the
something
money.
that they also want to do,
Yeah.
whereas some people.
Well, in the
just
case
do it
of
for
Classic
money.
Game Room, they did kind of flop once before.
Yeah.
So they know what it's like to be on kind of the bad end.
Oh
of
yeah.
Of internet video and that kind of stuff. So they actually do it because they love it because it failed once before.
And then you get these channels of these gamer girls, and there's like just the whole screen is them with their game running on a tiny little screen at the bottom, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not doing it for the attention." Cleavage at the camera, like
the camera's practically wedged there, but there is no stand on that camera. It's just jammed right down that push-up. Just saying.
And then you've got the girls who actually enjoy games and will show the game on their screen and not them, and them enjoying the game rather than them.
It's a dude.
Yeah.
Or fucking show us your tits, which is pretty much all you will ever hear or see online. Oh, we better move on because we're.
I was going to say, yeah, I've just looked at this, how much time we've got left on the timer.
Right.
We've degraded into just.
Right, because we've got some pretty hardcore stuff here. Do you want to talk about East?
Yeah, the upcoming East on the Vita. Well, it's already out in the States, I believe, but it's not out here. East Memories of Cell Setter, I'm looking forward to because I love the East games.
Remake of one of the...
Yeah, one of the other East games. I
Is
can't
it a
remember
PC
which
Engine
number.
game?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I've only played like the first couple of East games before the originals. But for anybody who doesn't know East is basically... I don't want to say it's Zelda, but more actiony.
It would be easier
That
to
is-
say
that-
Hide-Light, because a lot of people know what Hide-Light is.
But Zelda's more, I think more people know what Zelda is, don't they? But yeah, more like Highlight. But it is just sort of, well, top-down RPG initially, but now it's all done in 3D, so you can see it a bit
Wasn't that
differently.
since the PSP versions? Because they had one that was very much
'cause
like a
you've got
Lundra
PSP
from what I
remakes,
remember.
whereas East, Oath and Felghana, and Origins are done in a certain style, and then East 7 was done in a different style, but they still both work. They're hard games. It's more that you walk around like Zelda, you've got places you can go to different dungeons, and you sort of go to your little main village and talk to all the villagers and do your trading and business. But they're tough. Like the fighting system's more actiony. We're talking more along the lines of like Devil May Cry and stuff. You're going to be pulling out combos and whacking enemies and stuff, and jumping around and doing all sorts of moves. And they're hard. They're very, very hard. They're not a game for the faint-hearted gamer. Your boss battles are especially hard. East games have turned off a lot of players of how hard their boss battles are. But I love them. I think they're great games. They've got fantastic
I
soundtracks.
think I have one on the Master System.
Yeah?
One of the very, very, very early.
The early ones are quite funny because the combat system in the early ones is just...
It was literally Hide-Light. You'd
You
walk.
run into an enemy, you walk into him and it does damage. So how they've managed to get this whole new combat system with the remasters is quite cool. Like, it's very unique. Very good little game.
I'm tempted to try and pick up as many as I can.
Most of them tell the story of Adol Kristen, so you got the same character throughout the games. Sort of a silent protagonist, but a bit more character than, say, so like a silent protagonist like Link, I'd say. He goes on various adventures and they all seem to sort of build up into different things. So rather than sort of with Link where it's always a different Link, so I guess the same guy gone on the same adventures. The only different one is Origins, which offers you two different playable characters that do have their own characters and do speak, and Origins is a good game. Quite enjoyed that. Picked up on Steam recently. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Memories of Celsaire. Looks like it's set to be a good game.
Cool.
Perfect.
Might be worth picking it up.
Yes. Right, so moving on to our next section. Game, hardware, other news.
Now, this is actually going to be two of the hardest ones to describe quickly. Really,
Right.
because these are two of the kind of the beefier things.
Well, I'll do mine as quick as I can. We said this month we were going to explain why we're called the Rand Nerds, because we seem to have got a really bizarre following of people. Put simply, it's a programming reference. In programming, you have parts of your language called functions, and you pass variables to them, and usually it's written with the function name and then brackets what you're passing to it, and the function will do stuff. One of the functions is called random. In one certain languages, I think it's in PHP, use the acronym RAND, and we're passing the variable nerds. So basically, we're random nerds.
Yeah.
Hence why it's called Rand Nerds.
And it works.
As simple as that.
Because there's loads of random crap.
It's nothing to do with the woman who were Atlas Shrugged. Because she's bizarre.
Yes. Even though that seems to be where we're pulling a lot of...
apparently, yeah, that's all I can think. I might be completely wrong.
If you type our podcast name into Google, it will come up with all that crap as well.
Yeah, I know it does. But,
What does it come up with?
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand, yeah, apparently it's
Oh, right, yeah. Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she comes up. If you type Rand Nerds into Google, you get loads of videos about how Ayn Rand became a hero to nerds everywhere. I've not actually watched these videos. I don't know how that actually makes sense.
No.
Because I don't certainly consider her a hero. Technically, she'd be a heroine anyway. I don't certainly consider her a hero. Her philosophy was basically a load of gumph.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So I don't know why they won't come at that, but that's what I think is where we're getting our following from.
Oh, God, as if we're being associated with that.
Yep. Fail, huh? We might have to go for a rebrand.
Might have to, yeah. I hate Ayn Rand podcast.
It's like
We must distance ourselves from this.
one day. We'll just pick someone else and we'll put the name there.
Yeah.
So rather than being Rand,
Welcome
We
to
are.
the Hitler Nerds podcast.
I was thinking more along the lines of Nicolas Cage, which is bad, but not as bad as Hitler. Yeah,
Sega
Nicolas Cage
nerds. Could always be the Tesla nerds. Why not?
That's alright.
Next.
Next.
Because that was pretty simple.
That was. See, you can do it quickly. Thorny, you had a section about Mighty Number 9?
Oh, right, yeah, I won't go too much into
Yeah,
this.
keep this brief.
Recently, it's kind of died down a bit, but yeah, we had literally they've titled it the Dino Disaster, and what it is anyone that's followed Mega Man for years knows that Inafune broken away from Capcom, but wants to still make Mega Man games, but can't because Capcom own the rights. So he used Kickstarter. How much did he raise in the end? It was like 4 million or something.
I don't
it was
know.
a ridiculous amount either way. To make his game, which is Mighty Number 9, which is basically a spiritual successor to Mega Man. It's Mega Man in all but the name. I mean, they recently did a vote for the role character, what one would get through, because people had submitted designs. They picked 8 designs, put up a vote, which one would win. The character is Roll. It's just a...
Yeah, it is Roll.
Yeah, it's just Roll, exactly. It looks exactly like the character it's supposed to be based on. So he is basically just making another Mega Man game. But long and short of it, what happened is some SJW feminist got put onto the board of like the people that were making the game alongside the developers. She was put in charge of forum moderation and translating ideas between from the English fan base and what's going on in English forums to the Japanese developers, which was a bad decision. And the only reason she was put there was through nepotism, because her boyfriend works on the Mighty Number 9 program, so she got the job based on the fact that her boyfriend works there. It was nothing to do with her experiences. She'd even stated that she had never played a Mega Man game before, tried to go back.
She started trying to
and lied about it. Yeah, she backpedaled and said, oh, actually, I've played this one. But no, she admitted she'd never played the games. She doesn't even have any real love for video games. So the people who were funded the Kickstarter had been promised a development team and a moderation team of people who were involved in Mega Man, loved Mega Man. So people naturally were getting a little bit annoyed. What really sparked it, though, is she redrew the main character. I can't think of what they've called the main character now. Yeah, Beck, that's the one. She's redrawn Beck, but she's redrawn Beck as a woman. But it isn't just the fact that she's redrawn Beck as a woman. She's redrawn Beck as a woman in a really ghastly style. And then she started talking about, oh, why don't we make if gender shouldn't be an issue for the main character, we should make him a woman. Which instantly boggles the mind, because she then said gender isn't an issue and made it an issue. Mm. So, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they are robots.
Yeah, they are. So. Although they have gender in a way, they have a gender identity, don't they? Because Roll is identified clearly as a woman. And see, now I think most of the fans would have been happy for the Roll character to have been playable. Yeah. For that, I don't think anyone would have had a problem with that.
Was that not one of the Kickstarter options?
I think it is. And people would have been fine with that. I think they would have said, you know what? Given the option to play as Beck, or maybe play through the game as Beck and unlock Roll, so you can play as the Roll character. She's called Call now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have, I think people would have been fine with that, but with all the shit that's been going on in games journalism recently and the whole feminist agenda and general SJW agenda that seems to be invading the games community from people who don't even like games and just want it to affect their political opinions, this kicked up more of a shitstorm than it usually would, I think. And people have now been withdrawing their donations, and I don't think it's gone as big as it and big enough to an extent that it would affect the game being developed at all. But it hurts the industry in general because it means that there's now an even bigger lack of trust between developers and players. And we don't even know, Inafune's English is limited. I don't know if he can even speak English at all, to be honest with you. So he might not even know that this is going on over here and that the forums are now being taken over by this sort of feminist element, and that players are, well, people are essentially being silenced because there was a big outcry about it on the forums, and people were getting banned all over the place. So yeah, it's not good, and I think sadly we're seeing more of it impact gaming at the moment. It seems to be something that developers are worried about, whether they upset these people. I don't think they should. I think that I truly believe games should be for everyone, that everybody should have a shot, but turning around and saying, oh, well, there aren't enough female characters in games, well, make a game. Put a female character in the game, If more females want to be recognised in games, then more females need to enter the game industry. And there are some brilliant females in the game industry as it stands. I don't know if to name it. Amy Hennig jumps out at either of you. She originally worked for Silicon Knights and wrote the story to the Legacy of Kain games. So she's responsible for one of the best written stories in any Western video game. She now works for Naughty Dog, and I believe she writes most of the storylines for the Uncharted games, or is at least involved in the storyline to Uncharted. There's plenty of other examples of women in the industry that are genuine, are interested in games, and love games. And it's
just not to interrupt again, but a lot of the old guard from back in the early 90s were women.
Yeah.
Especially on the PC side as well.
Absolutely. And it's sad to think that they're now being undermined by this feminist element. It's gone on, it's a men's club gaming. And it's well, no, it isn't. We've always been open to anyone that wants to game. Actually, a lot of the time it was gamers being excluded by other people because it used to be looked down on as a childish hobby and mocked and derided. Whereas now everybody seems to want in on it. So you get all these hipsters getting in on the gaming community and you're just like, no, you can't come in and start changing things now. Not when we've been here a lot longer. But
the horrible thing is now the wrong people have now somehow managed to weasel their way in and get all the power.
And I think, in a way, that they make it worse for people who are genuine because with the LGBT stuff that's coming into games, for anyone that doesn't know, that's lesbian, gay, bi, transgendered. You get people then moaning, no, there's no transgender characters and all this, and there's no gay characters. I think if I were a gay person, I would want the sexuality aspect of the character to be secondary to the character. Yep. So I'd be happier to be represented with a character who is gay, but that just happens to be a part of his character, not that the whole draw
of his defining feature.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a defining feature of any character, unless it's a spoof character like Duke Nukem, whose defining feature is he's macho, and that's funny and played off for comedy, and it works. But if you're going to have a serious character, why would you want that to be the defining feature? And again, that was one of my many problems with Dragon Age 2. Won't even speak of the paths by where I've been walking these days, but that all the characters in the story were then made bisexual purely for the sake of player immersion, so that they could pick any character. Character romances irritate me anyway. I think I've discussed this before, that they don't need to be in a game. When I'm out saving the world, I don't need to be bothered by romance. It shouldn't necessarily be a big part of the game. But in Dragon Age 2, they made the characters like that to suit the player. And to me, that's wrong, because the character, that should be a part of who the character is. So if the character is straight or gay, if you are then playing a straight or gay character that isn't compatible with them, it shouldn't be compatible with them, because that's part of their character. So surely that's taken away from the story in a way and making it worse rather than improving upon it and making it better, which is what they claim to be doing, but I would disagree wholeheartedly, that they're just basically trying to push an agenda into gaming that
They're just going to kill it.
They will, yeah. And this Mighty Number 9 business is pretty much the proof in the pudding, really, isn't it?
Shamefully.
Which is despicable, really.
I can't comment on that.
No, I
at all.
can't. No, I agree with it.
It's just a complete cock-up, because that's something I backed.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to see another Mega Man game.
And again, Kamitani, my favourite developer in gaming, all the heat that he got for Dragon's Crown for his overly sexualised sorceress character, not for his overly buff muscular warrior, which is the same thing, just a man. And that shouldn't be a problem anyway, from either end of the perspective. As I've said before, beautiful people exist. Should they not be catered to as well? Should we then say, oh, you might upset somebody by putting a beautiful person in a game? Should we then say, no, you're not allowed beautiful people in games? On the reverse scale, then that might upset beautiful people because, suddenly they're not being represented.
This is going to be kind of a stupid point that everyone's going to cry about, but like, for me as an example, I have a disability. For anyone, I have a sarcastic echo disability. No problem, live with it. It's kind of like someone who's got, I don't know, broken hand. You live with it, right? I have no problem if someone goes on telly and starts taking the piss out of disabled people, or they make a game taking the piss out of disabled people, or whatever. If that's what your message is, do it, whatever. I'm, tough enough to...
Provided it's done in sort of a tasteful fashion. It doesn't need to be gregarious or over the top and grotesquely handled.
You don't have to start slapping posters everywhere and saying that, kill all the Crips. But,
I will take a good example. South Park does Timmy and Jimmy. I work with people with various disabilities. Mm-hmm. So, in a way, I'm sensitive to it. But when it's done in South Park, it is played... They're almost endearing characters, aren't they? So it's not such a bad thing, because although they are funny characters, in a way, if you took them out, it would almost be saying, well, then these people don't get to join in the comedy. So that's exclusion in a way.
It's almost more offensive to take them out.
It is, it is. So. Everybody should have a chance to take part in something like that.
What you often see, is the people who tend to be the ones who take offence aren't actually from the group.
Yeah, precisely.
Offended. It's usually how often have I heard, well, you can't say about such and such a group, well, you're not part of such a group, why are you arguing? Well, because they can't defend themselves. Well, hang on a second. Surely that's just as bad. Saying that is just as bad as saying what we did was wrong.
There is a group I work with that actually give people the right to speak for themselves, and many of those people want to speak for themselves. They don't want somebody to then have to speak for them or do things for them when they're capable of doing it themselves. That is deriding them. That's really deriding them, not like a comedy going ha ha, that's a serious issue.
That's just the way the world is.
It is. But the Dina disaster, that was what the subject was, and how gaming is now pandering to these awful SJWs that need to get the hell out of my hobby.
But they won't. Because then that pisses you off.
Well, I suppose that we best be on to our penultimate section, flashback. Flashback. So, last issue of month I talked about a TV show that was on Sky One. I didn't dream it did exist. Luke Ford dreamt it. It was called Gamersville, with a Z.
I remember Gamesville.
Yes. It was terrible.
I remember Gamesville.
It was pretty awful. And talking of nepotism, it was the reason it was commissioned was that it was commissioned for Elizabeth Murdoch, left Sky B. Also, we know who her father is. And as part of the leaving package, she was her production company was guaranteed a certain number, 100 hours of TV from Sky.
Right.
They agreed to buy. So she leaves, and they agree as part of her leaving to buy stuff off her. The two guys that got to present it, I don't think they'd ever played a game in their life.
Usually the way.
It was so insulting to play games. They thought the people, when you see a TV program, it's quite clearly the people who developed it have no interest in the subject. They think it's a good market, and they've basically put a bunch of stereotypes, what they think exists in that market.
Yeah.
That's basically what the show was like.
Right.
It was just it was.
Yeah, I've never seen it, so
I will put a link to if I see if I can find some clips I can put a link to on the show notes. But I watched a few bits on YouTube and oh my word!
Yeah, I'll look it up. Do you remember the older ones? You had like Bad Influence, didn't you?
Yes, that was it because they had the
Andy
show that
Crane,
you were talking
wasn't
about
it?
had the Games Guru, and in Bad Influence they had.
They actually had to rename the Games Guru to the Guru because there was another show called Game. There was a show called Games Guru, and they got in trouble for having the Games Guru. I remember watching Games Master.
Yeah, back in the
Patrick
day,
Moore.
Dominic Diamond and Patrick Moore. Yeah.
I've actually still got the first season of.
Yeah.
Games
It was
Master.
my real memory of watching Gainesville was I remember seeing they got a couple of youngsters who clearly were more at home. The game they would most likely be interested in playing was, say, I don't know, first person shooters. Quite clear that's what their sort of thing,
Right.
Gears of War style games.
Yeah.
This is obviously pre that. They gone to play Galactic Civilization 2, which is a strategy game, and all they complained about was the fact it was in 2D.
Oh dear.
And it's sort of like, well, that's not your sort of game. If that's not your sort of game,
Yeah.
why you got them reviewing it? It'd be like putting me in front of an MMO. It could be the best MMO in the world. I'm just going to say it's crap.
Yeah.
It's just not something that you.
That's not something I'd play. Or beat 'em up. 'Cause I'm not. A
I
fan
mean,
of
and I
games.
imagine Galactic Civilization to be quite an involved game.
It is a
as
very
well,
involved
you
game.
know.
Very involved game, which you
Takes a
can't.
very specific niche kind of game
It's
to
not something
play.
you'll get from 20 minutes of playing it.
No.
Typically got no idea what it's going to be like. It's a very if you're not into Civ style games, you're not going to enjoy it. So that's Gamesville.
There you
Link
go.
in the show notes.
Excellent.
Link in the show notes. I'm now going to be pulling my hair out trying to remember the name of the character from Bad Influence.
I think there are
Oh,
Bad
yeah.
Influence episodes on YouTube, so you might be able to find it.
Yeah, I can't remember what the hell the guy's name was though, but it was pretty much the same show, but
Yeah.
kind of a reboot and a real bad one at that. What else was there? You were surprised that Game Station was part of Game.
Yeah, I was surprised.
You didn't catch that one. Basically, Game purchased
All the
Game
stuff
Station.
jumped ship, didn't they,
Well,
over here?
Yeah, because Game purchased Game Station from Blockbuster in 2007.
Right.
And then Game Group was purchased in 2012, and then Game Station was just dropped.
Yeah, all the
So,
game stuff
makes
turned up in
sense.
Game Station, so all Game Station stuff turned
Yeah,
up in
'cause
Game
they-
even.
A lot of people used to think it was different because they did have different pricing structures, and because
Yeah.
it was literally just an old company being pulled in by another group. Because they used to send, I mean, sometimes you'd see the same girl working in both shops, but she would also be the person going around checking the prices between
Yeah.
shops. So people would be like, "Hang on a minute, what are you doing?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just checking the prices here to make sure we've got competitive prices in our store." It's like, well, but I'm sure I've seen you work in the other store.
Yeah.
So they were just one and the same company. Yeah.
They're no budget computer games. You can't take a brand new game there and get 50p for it. Probably just as bad, but not quite as endearing as good old budget.
Yeah, I gave them back a Dreamcast with one screw in it
Nice.
Nice.
before I bought another Dreamcast from them.
Is that it for flashback?
You were playing Thief 2? Did you finish it?
No.
That sucks.
That's why I didn't mention I was keeping that quiet because I was going to plan to finish it and I didn't. So I still haven't finished the last level of Thief 2.
Right.
But
Did you say you ever had finished?
No, I never have.
Oh, you've got to, yes.
I've
Finish it for the
determined.
next episode. You've got a month.
I've got a month to finish it, yeah.
That's one of the games you've got to have on your hit list to complete. It's
I know.
brilliant.
I'm about halfway through the last level.
And you've got to mention the update that you mentioned.
Oh yeah,
in
the Dragon's
podcast.
Crown update. The ultimately brilliant patch. Dragon's Crown, my favourite game of last year. Kamatani has updated it again.
Did take away the neon arrows.
Yeah, he took away neon arrows. I already mentioned that in the last one, I think.
Oh, yeah,
taking
okay,
the
fair
neon arrows
enough.
away. And what he'd done is he's
I wasn't paying attention.
added a whole new dungeon, which
Right.
is, they say it's got infinite floors. I think the furthest anyone's got is to 200, but it's randomised like Diablo. So the
Okay.
dungeons are now all in this new tower. You can only reach them. There's a whole new difficulty level. You can only get to the dungeon by completing this difficulty level. The tower's randomised, so all the areas you go to are completely different enemies, different like backgrounds and stuff. He has balanced the characters, added stuff to them, so everyone's more balanced now because the Amazon in it was ridiculously powerful before, but
He's
now
balanced
she's
the characters by giving the sorceress a walking stick.
The sorceress now, I can't remember what has changed on her, but I think her skeletons are now stronger. But the warrior...
Her skeleton is now stronger.
Yes.
She could,
What, her personal skeleton?
She
Her
needs a
little
stronger
army of
spine.
resurrected skeletons are now stronger. The warrior, the Amazon, and the dwarf can now all throw their weapons, which for the dwarf is amazing because the dwarf has a special move where when he hits the floor, lightning strikes, and it does loads of damage. But now he can throw his hammers when they hit the floor. Lightning strikes where his hammers land. So not only do the hammers do damage when he throws them, but the lightning strike does as well, which makes him even better. He's my favourite character, so he's been improved a bit, and I'm real happy about that.
Is there a max level in Dragon's Crown?
Yes, and that's one of the new things. Dragon's Crown max level was 90. The patch now takes it up to 225.
Which is pretty
so
cool.
he's added... I don't know whether that means that your skills will now be able to be more levelled, which will mean you'll be able to unlock all the skills, I think, for a character, whereas before you were limited, you had to choose what you wanted. But I'm guessing, well, it'd be nice now if it means you unlock more skill points to have more skills. If it doesn't, it's not a biggie, because you can build your characters to be a certain way anyway, and you can pretty much unlock all the best skills for a character. But yeah, I mean, it's great that he's still adding stuff to his game. I think there's one more patch, and then it's going to be it. I think he's going to finish on this next patch. What that'll include will be interesting. But in contrast to what we were talking about earlier, with DLC being released at extortionate prices, and he's just gone, hey, here's this free extra dungeon, free extra difficulty. Let's raise your level cap to 225 and improve all the characters. You know, you've got to give Kamatani a bit of applause there.
Yeah.
I still got to play that one. I still have to properly play it.
We'll have to do a let's play of it.
Which will be awesome.
The four of us will have to let's play it.
And people could be like, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, include Inky on that one.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
We'll drag my wife in. No, like, the question is, who will she play? The manly man?
I'm dwarf, hands down. Bags in that dwarf.
Fair doing.
Fair enough.
You can play the same character though, but it'll just be interesting
Oh,
to
okay,
have
that's cool.
a varied
I
team.
didn't realise you
thing.
could play as the same character. That's pretty cool.
Right, weird news. This is going to be quick because we're getting short on time. Right, very quick. Okay. This is not really weird news, it's something I thought was interesting.
Fuck, he's gone fast.
American has been crowned world record holder for his collection of video games, 10,607.
How many copies of those are ET? How many of them are doubles? And how many
No,
of them are
there's no
sports games?
doubles. His name's Michael Thomas Buffalo. He's now in the Guinness World Records 2014. He's got a collection of games from old cartridges to Xbox and PlayStations. His first game was Cosmic Adventure. Unfortunately, he couldn't play it for a year because they had to wait till they get a cloak revision system before he could play it. He's already sold it twice, but it's already built it. He estimates to be worth about £490,000, or if you took it to game, about a $5 off the new Call of Duty.
Take your budget's 50p.
Yeah. And he teaches
Restock the entire shop.
game design courses. It's not really weird news, but I thought that was an interesting thing to have.
Well, sounds like a cool guy.
Yeah, sounds like a guy. We'll bear in mind. First one, officials in Abu Dhabi have called for stronger laws against sorcery, claiming cult legalisation is too lenient.
Witch hunting.
It's always as bad as the Halloween episode. The witches have satellites.
yeah. Apparently, they believe that Salam al-Hamiri is trying to amend the 1983 law, and he wants authorities to get tougher on sorcerers as he feels they're taking advantage of the vulnerable. He says some people believe sorcerers can carry out boasts such as making it rain money, which surely is pretty clear quite soon that doesn't work. Some officials have also supported him, and he's hoping that it will deter practices in the region. There you go.
Be thankful I am not in control of any large weapon stash.
No. Luke, do you ever play hide and seek with your wife?
With
Or
my
your kids?
wife.
Is that a euphemism?
I was going to say, how can you want a minute? Why are you asking me?
No, I mean it's in the childhood game. No, guessing not.
No.
No, you with your girlfriend? No.
No.
Okay. A man in Australia decided he's going to play hide and seek. He'd stripped naked, and do you know where he decided to hide? A washing machine.
Oh dear.
Top load washing machine. All was fine, so he got stuck. And he had to call, and the police had to be called to get him out. Amusingly, the other emergency services involved include firefighters, paramedics, and even a local search and rescue squad. What search and rescue they needed to do, I don't know. I mean, he's there. There he is. Yeah.
Are they made the search and rescue squad made up of like hide and seek champions? That would be interesting.
They used olive oil to get him out. Took 20 minutes.
That must have sucked.
Police sergeant was quoted saying, "It was just a game gone wrong. It would be fair to say the gentleman was very embarrassed, strangely enough."
Let's just say, don't fucking do that again, Nobby.
He's embarrassed. How must the washing machine have felt?
Yeah.
Just imagine his
violated.
His wife is probably going for a divorce right now.
Probably.
She's probably having an affair with a washing machine. Or he was.
What a complete blank.
Back to the UK. A woman who robbed a shop in Sunderland while claiming she had a gun was arrested after she returned to scene to retrieve her phone. Amanda McGoran escaped with some cash following the raid on a spa on Chester Road, but returned 15 minutes later when she realised she dropped her handset.
Age?
27-year-old. She went back
hell.
and said, "Can I just get my phone and say sorry to the lasses?" She told police, who then arrested her. She's now got an 8 months community service sentence. I mean, why? Why did... just plan ahead.
It's probably only a cheapy 50p phone. She
If you're
nicked
going
off
to
her
rob
mate for
somewhere,
coke.
plan ahead. She said she was drunk at the time. We've got a bit of a theme about criminals in this sort of next bit. A locksmith was pleased to have gained access to home for his customer, only to find the customer was actually a burglar.
Oh my god.
The burglar called him out to open the house up. The locksmith opened the house up and then got suspicious when the burglar couldn't switch the internal alarm off. And then when he asked for proof of residence, the burglar ran away.
See, you usually ask for that first.
He said he will do next time.
Next time?
Next time. I mean...
Oh my god.
Once more back to the UK. A thief whose plot to steal from a house and Hull was thwarted when he got stuck in a window. And he had to play with Baz when he had to ask the victim to call the police.
Oh my god.
He misjudged the space available in the opening as he tried to enter the house in yellows. He was discovered dangling from the window when the shop owner went to use the bathroom.
That was actually quite local, wasn't it?
Hull.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
right. There was something recently that I thought was a bit more closer to home. But
Copycat Norwich, probably.
Ah, right.
By the time the thief had accepted he wasn't going anywhere and asked the fine tenant to call emergency services, aid came from Humberside police who probably arrested him once they retrieved him from the window. Unsurprisingly, the thief admitted his crime and is currently in police custody.
Could you imagine him trying to deny that? Yeah. I would have so much fun. I would love to be there as someone was trying to deny that.
especially if he's wearing a Spider-Man costume at the time.
Right.
Red-handed.
That was a bit of a blast with weird news and all, but we are incredibly tight for time. So, I suppose it's time for us to sign off. You can find us on randnerds.com, through the YouTube channel at youtube.com/randnerds. You can email us at randnerd without the S at gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter, randnerd. Follow us on Google Plus if I ever be bothered to update it, randnerds.
I'm glad he remembers all this.
I've said it so many times. And
So many times 7.
Follow us on Facebook at randnerds as well. So, bit of a rapid end to the podcast.
Yeah, random podcast, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Went through a few things there we weren't expecting to.
Yeah. So, it's goodbye from me, Nicholas Jackson.
And me, Luke Roberts.
And goodbye from me, Adam Thorn.
See you next time.